ショートレンジラリアット
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Eastern Lariat podcast, your show for news, notes, reviews, and opinions on the world of Japanese pro wrestling here on cagematch.net. I am your host, STRIGGA, and I'm as always joined by my man, Dylan. Dylan, ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning, because we're recording early here at least here in Germany. I mean, for you it's early too, but a different kind of early.
We're back in my zone. Overnight shift activated. Morning for you, past midnight for me. I just ate dinner not that long ago. It was a very late dinner nonetheless.
What did you have?
But I had Whataburger for your answer, Strigga. So tried to keep myself in a positive mindset. Trying to keep myself in a positive mindset for the awards that we're going to do. I want to believe in our listeners. Every year they've delivered. And this is a half-year award, so sometimes things can get a little crazy with some of the voters. I was a little concerned what was going to happen. What kind of votes were you going to have, Strigga? What kind of votes were the people going to have? What the hell was I going to pick? I didn't even know, really.
I took some time either. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I just watched some stuff back over the weekend, and I went through some cage match profiles to find out who I was going to vote for. And in some cases, I'm just not that sure. I don't know. What's your impression on how this year has gone so far?
I would say there were a couple of awards that I feel pretty confident saying, okay, this so and so is number one. But for the most part, I think there aren't too many clear-cut awards. I think there are a lot of awards, and that's kind of how the voting played out when you look at it. There were a couple of blowout wins, but a lot that were really close and kind of came down to the wire. And I think that's a sign of just the fact of, and there were some things you could add in, like recency bias towards stuff that maybe happened at in June compared to some other months. But in general, I think there just wasn't a lot of clear-cut, dead-set winners. Some of the voting surprised me, to be honest with you, but I do think overall, in all seriousness, I do think the voters did a pretty great job, up and down. I don't have any There's a couple I do disagree with. I'm not going to lie, and some of them I was just surprised in terms of how big some people won. But overall, I definitely think the voters, once again, as we trust the Eastern Lariat listenership and the voter pool that we've concocted. These are pretty strong picks up and down. I don't have a lot of strong arguments really against a lot of them. Thank you to everybody who voted, as always. We bounced back a little bit from the year-end awards last year. We got more voters than the year-end. Hopefully we can keep that positive momentum going, and hopefully it's a sign of more people being interested in Japanese wrestling, because I think by the end of last year, I mean, we saw it with the Dome. There were so many people that traveled to Japan for the Dome show. And it just felt like by the end of it, people just were not excited about anything going on in Japan.
That's why I feel asking, because the first half of the year there have been lots of shows that I've been sitting and watching, and I've felt ultimately that these shows were fine and that these matches were fine, but there was just not a lot of stuff that got my interest really, really high up.
Even still, I think we're in a better spot as a fan than we were 6 months ago, in my opinion.
I would agree with that.
If you remember after those Dome shows for Japan, I mean, it felt like an all-time low in terms of the buzzometer. And here at least we've got cool stuff that happened that captured people. Some of it wasn't even cool. Some of it was controversial and things that I didn't like per se. But at least that they've got people talking a lot, and I think that's more than we could say for where we were at the start of the year.
Right. So before we get into the awards, like the last show that we did was after Dominion, so that's almost a month ago from this point on. Obviously, as you know, there's been lots of stuff going on in Dylan's life. For me, there was a lot going on in my professional life as well, and of course, privately too. I was on vacation a couple of times during that time, so it really never worked out that we did another show after that. We're still looking forward to going to do some of the promotional specific shows that I mentioned, but that's going to be happening after this show. Obviously, the half-year awards, they have priority now. And the G1 is starting, obviously, so you can expect some more shows over the summer. Yes. So, Dylan, the half-year awards. We once again put out the voting form, or this time, for the first time, you did put out the voting form, and I really didn't have anything to do with the establishment this time of the half-year awards. And we have 12 different categories that we are going for. And as per usual, the tradition of the Eastern Lariat says it, we have to start with this one, with the Stan Hansen Award for the Best Foreigner. And if you're listening to this awards show for the first time, Dylan, please explain for the listeners how these award names came to be.
Yes, the award names, we really kind of upgraded the awards. It's something we had done for a few years prior. You know, it started off us covering the Tokyo Sports Awards. Then we kind of changed it to our own awards, and they were kind of like more just us, and we'd have a guest on. And we'd have year-end awards for us. Then we ended up opening it up to the listeners, and then kind of the final evolution, the final digi-evolution of this was we ended up naming the awards, and how that came about was me and you kind of bantered amongst ourselves and came up with some ideas. Obviously, not every award would be named. You know, Best Bout kind of speaks for itself. Best Promotion makes no sense to name after somebody. But for certain awards, we wanted to attach a legendary name to it. Kind of, my inspiration by that was really the National Hockey League, like the Conn Smythe Trophy, and all of their awards are named after like legendary people in the sport, and basketball's taken that off, calling the MVP award the Jordan, or like the Lombardi Trophy in NFL. I'm sure pretty much every league has a legendary trophy name. And I wanted to make our awards the most prestigious among purely Japanese wrestling awards. Like, that was really my goal, because I had some frustrations with the Observer Awards. A lot of good things to come from that for sure. But I really felt, because of our listenership and the nature of our show is more analytical than I think a lot of those, I really felt like our awards could be the best ones legitimately. So we bantered about some names, and we put it up to the fans. Every one of these awards names went through a process where there were other names considered. The fans voted for every name here. So like, it wasn't just us picking it just because we said so. It might have been one of our ideas to start, but the fans ultimately selected each and every one of the award names for the Eastern Lariat Awards.
Yep, and that is where we stand right now here for the half-year awards 2025, going in for the first category. And you just sent me the final voting sheet from the fans, from the listeners, and we see that we have a shared second place. David Finlay made it to place number 3. Shared second place is Zack Sabre Jr. and Bolton Oleg, while Flamita came away the number 1 best foreigner for the listeners. Dylan, how about you?
So, for me, I'm very interested to see like who you voted for. I thought there were some good picks for sure this year, but nobody really blew me away of the foreign crop this year. I was talking to my friend. I recorded a show earlier in the day discussing AEW's All In Wrestle Update with Nello, and he was talking about the awards to me, and his argument for his vote was essentially, these guys may have had good years, but if you're going to be the best foreigner, he kind of graded it like a foreigner MVP almost in his kind of thinking. And I thought that was a good point to look at it. But for me, the foreigner was not a foreign MVP. It was the best foreigner, so to speak. So for me, when you look at overall consistency through the first half of the year, none of these are great picks, in my opinion, for one reason or another, in terms of peak plus consistency in Japan. I think there's flaws with every one of them. But in the end, the one that... So then at that point, I just kind of had to go with my heart a little bit. And for me, the one I've enjoyed the most and I do think is the most consistent while also being here the whole time would be Bolton Oleg. For me, I thought he had the best half year. The match with Takeshita was as good as almost anything in New Japan. Obviously, the Zack peak matches with Goto like keep him on the board, but it was really those two matches and not a lot else for me.
He peaks very high, but there was a time. I mean, he had this great run in the New Japan Cup, but in between the New Japan Cup and him becoming IWGP World Heavyweight Champion again, there really wasn't anything that you can point to for Zack Sabre Jr. in Japanese wrestling, at least. I mean, he had great matches in America at that point in time, but not that consistent run in Japan. I thought about Oleg as well. I have him slightly below Zack Sabre Jr. I would say that he doesn't peak as high to me. He was there consistently. The matches were consistently good, didn't peak as high. I want to go back quickly to that what Nello said about the best foreigner being a kind of an MVP. I think that's the problem that we had with the best junior heavyweight in the first year that we did the award, right? That people figured it would be an MVP award, but it was not. It was just about the best wrestler. So that's where I went as well. And for that liking, I have Zack Sabre Jr. slightly above Oleg Bolton. But for my number one foreigner, I went with the listeners. I went with Flamita. Flamita hasn't been here the entire year. I will admit that. And we might have to talk about it. At some point, we might have to have an internal discussion if we set a minimum of appearances for a wrestler to be voted into some of the categories. But that's a discussion for another time. Flamita, I have up there because his body of work in Dragon Gate is much more than the body of work of others because of the incredible touring schedule that Dragon Gate has, even though he only has been back since early May. Flamita has already had 34 matches for Dragon Gate. That's what some of the others that get votes in the foreigner category have when they are in for a complete half year. So when Flamita is in Dragon Gate, and that's one of the talking points that the guys over on Open the Voice Gate have had as well, you immediately notice a rise in quality in the promotion and in the matches that Flamita is in. He is one of the best luchadors that Dragon Gate has ever had, and now he just won the Open the Triangle Gate with Bandito and Luis Mante on Dragon Gate's ChocoPro Wrestling Festival over the weekend. So for me, I can completely understand where the listeners came from with Flamita.
A couple of points. First of all, huge shout out to Open the Voice Gate. I told them this personally, but I really think they're doing some absolutely fantastic work ever since they started the Michinoku Pro Those Days podcast. I felt like they elevated, and it really peaked in the recent episode they did which they tier listed every single Dreamgate title run in Dragon Gate history, which was a phenomenal episode and a phenomenal exercise, even though I disagreed on certain things. Because I remember all of those title reigns too that they do. But I thought it was a fantastic episode if you're an old school DG fan. Like myself, and obviously they had a great interview with Jay Church as well recently leading into Kobe World, so please check them out. The problem with Flamita is, like, there's no real argument against his work because everything you said was right. Every match he's in is made better by him being in it. I really don't mind voting him this for the half-year awards because it's not like official year-end awards. I do think if some new guy comes in September or October and has a hot 3-month run and we see votes for him as the best of the year, I'm not going to like that very, very much.
I get that.
Yeah, but for half year, I think it's okay. He did have a lot of matches. He's really kind of boxed into a role, though, in DG. We haven't seen him in a lot of different scenarios. We have no singles matches of him at all in this run. It's all been multi-man tags, which he's fantastic in, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, there was one, but that was not televised.
Yeah, and so we never even saw that.
He was in that 3-way the night before Kobe World, but other than that, it's all tags.
And that wasn't even the first half of the year. So, like, for the first half of the year... yeah, so the first half of the year, he didn't have any. So we're talking... and I think it's good to have him, though, because, like I said, the half-year awards... The wins, it's good, but really the main purpose of these awards is to give us something to look back on for the year-end awards. So if he has another great run, if he has another great 6 months, then hell yeah, he should be the winner. But I kind of voted according to the letter of the law, more so than the spirit of it, I suppose. And that's why I cannot vote for somebody who's been here 2 months, ultimately. But I think for these awards, I really have no problem with it. He's great. Like, his talent is awesome. There's no argument against his abilities. He is somebody who's really, really changed over the years for the better. And I think that he's on his best run, and he really deserves where he's at. Like, his place right now, getting what he did, the title win, I thought was a great moment for him specifically.
Yes, absolutely. We'll see how long he's in for, because people thought that he would leave after Kobe World, but now he's a champion. And he already is scheduled for a match in early August for Dragon Gate, so maybe we'll have it in for the year-end awards.
Yeah, and I hope so. Because I think he'll, like I said, if that happens, he will have deserved it if he keeps up his current level of performance.
Yes. So others that got votes, Gabe Kidd and Chris Brooks didn't make it into the top 3. Then we have Bozilla, Lena Cross, and Debbie Keitel. Galeno, Jacob Crane from Poland. Connor Mills, Dylan. Did I had to look that up? Did Connor Mills actually have matches in Japan?
Somebody voted him in, so that's all it is.
Okay,
did he have matches?
No.
No. Okay, so at least it's somebody. He is a foreigner.
He's definitely
just by
checks one box.
Just by existing, he had the best year. Maybe this is somebody he had like a great Fire Pro run with Connor Mills jumping to Japan, and he kind of thought that was real life. But shout out to the listener who voted him. Thankfully, he did not get many more support.
Who even knows who debuts these days on Monday Magic? Could be anyone.
That's true. You're absolutely right.
Yes, one of those guys that made an impression on Monday Magic was Robert Mader. Definitely great for him to have had this experience in Japan. We have Olmos, Dylan.
Great pick. Less amount of time than Flamita by a long shot. But
Dragon Bane, I thought was interesting.
Yeah, him over Alpha Wolf. He's good though. They're always one of the highlights of these Noah shows, Los Copiadores. So I have no problem with that, really.
Titus Alexander, also on Monday Magic and on
another good
Marvelous. One. Yes. I was surprised that Francesco Akirak didn't get any real love from the listeners. He's very down on the totem pole here, because he had a good Best of the Super Junior.
Yeah, he did. I just think they booked him kind of weird. I was so annoyed that he got himself DQ'd, like got himself eliminated by DQ. I know they were trying to tell like a weird story with him, but the booking wasn't great. But yeah, he's a really good talent though.
Callum Newman. Yeah.
The last person to get a singular vote, Callum Newman.
Definitely a weird first 6 months for the guy. Tag title run. Then the tag title was taken away because of the Jeff Cobb situation. Did get a world title match out of that, out of the blue. Was kind of good in that role, but of course he was going against Goto. Now he's in the G1 again, and we'll see how this goes for him.
Yeah, very happy that Yoshihashi made it into the G1 was my main takeaway. I did a G1 podcast on the Patreon, patreon.com/Eastern Lariat, where I predicted every single match of the tournament. Newman is not one of my favorites on paper, but maybe this will be his big step forward, like the second half of the year.
So in Japan, there's lots of foreigners right now in Japan. When you, for example, look at Michinoku Pro, we have El Pantera Jr., who recently was the Tokyo Junior Heavyweight Champion. There's Sangre Azteca Jr. as well. Gianni Valletta was in for Dragon Gate early this year. There's lots of people that bounce around on the bigger stages and on the smaller stages in Japan right now. So if you see one of these shows, there might be a foreigner on, even if it's a micro indie show with 50 fans. There might be a guy from Australia on there. And on the foreigner side, Dylan, before we go to the next award, I want to say how happy I am for Hartley Jackson that he has now a permanent position in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Well deserved. Hartley Jackson is my guy, like a longtime friend. We are our 0-1 buddies from the old days, and really cool guy.
Yep, definitely. So going to the next award, that is the Jun Akiyama Legacy Rookie of the Year Award. And if I'm not mistaken, Dylan, that rookie must have debuted before June 30, 2023, right? So 2 years from now.
That's right. 2 years. I listed December 30th because I thought it'd be kind of pointless to have somebody would not be eligible for the year-end award.
Okay, I get that.
So,
yes. Okay.
Yeah. So let's just say between 2024 and 2025, like 2-year period. That's how we set it up. 2 years is the rookie. Mm-hmm. Wait.
Okay, so this was a runaway victory for Zenka Akatsuki from Marvelous. She got almost double the votes as the second in place. That is Homare for the listeners. And on number 3, it's Seri Yamaoka. And when you looked at the debuts of specifically the 2 women here in the top 3, I don't think that it was any kind of surprise that these 2 are so far up. And even in their first match, you could see, okay, yeah, she's going to get a lot of votes come the half-year awards. That definitely is something that we were looking out for. Homare in between is interesting. And Dylan, for my awards, for my choices that I have these top 3 slightly differently. I have Zenka on number 3. I have Seri on number 2. And Homare for me is the best rookie. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you, the listeners, of course, too. In contrast to Seri and Zenka, Homare, from day 1, when he made his debut, he was a key and integral part of the storylines and of the stable that he is part of now with Zebrats, or whatever that is now with the Zebrats. And it never, at no point really in his young career, it really felt to me that this dude even is a rookie. Even in his debut, it felt like, okay, this guy is so far up from any other rookie that Dragon Gate has put out in a long time. Even with guys like Daiki Yanagiuchi, they got some shine early on. But Homare, in his first year, constantly got the shine on him, got the Triangle Gate title, got this great run with Shun Skywalker in the Rede Pareas tournament earlier this year. And of course, Seiri Yamaoka, she also had the tag title run with Nanae Takahashi, and Senka Akatsuki has had great matches in Marvelous. But for these two, it still more feels like that these are still rookies, even in their movement that they have. You can see it. There is some stuff that is a little bit, it's not off, but some stuff just looks like, okay, yeah, these two women, they are still learning on the job. They are still evolving, and they are still in their rookie phase. Whereas with Homare, that guy from day one on was on an incredible level, and is just continuing to get better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. Homare clears to me. I really don't want to. I feel like I'm being put in a position to not be the most glowing of Senka, who is a fantastic rookie. Don't get me wrong. I think the groundswell of support for her is something that I'm not quite sure why it is. Like, she's great, don't get me wrong, and she would be my number 2. Don't get me wrong. I don't think, I just don't understand why she has all of this love and is looked at as this amazing prospect, which I do agree that she is. I'm not saying that she's not, but I don't understand why it's so over the top with her compared to her contemporary Sora Ayane, also from Marvelous,
yes,
who wrestles like similarly to she does and nearly as good, if not as good. I don't think it's like this blow-away difference between the two. I do think that in terms of
they
skills,
ultimately have the same fundamentals, and what Soya didn't have was the Aja Kong match.
Exactly. I think that was exactly what I thought. Like, if she had had the Aja match, she might still have that same love that Senka has. But because of that match, people really got invested with Senka more. Yamaoka is good. I have seen, when I watch her, I think that she's less skillful than Senka, personally. I think she got pushed really well by the company, and I think that really helped her hanging out with Nanai. But I can't wait to see what she does in the Dreamstar run. That's going to be a great comparison point for both, because they're both there. So I can't wait to see how they both do. Odashima would be like up there for me, like a number 2 or 3. I actually think, like, in a lot of ways, he's the most fun guy to watch to me, because Homare, like, when they get behind him, he delivers big. Like the Yamato match we saw leading into Kobe World, or when they had the Rede Pareas one, when they put him over in the final, he looked like a megastar. But they also kind of pulled back on him a little bit. They had him drop the fall to UT, which he was great in. Made UT look like $1 million as well. But I think it's been more inconsistent. With Odashima, they don't push him, but he's always in the same space, and he always wrestles great in it. I really think they had a lot more gas left in the tank with him and Fujita, actually, and they kind of dropped that, unfortunately. But, I mean, he made Kazuki Fujita look like, a really entertaining guy. And I think that's worth
one of
something.
my favorite matches on the trip, because Fujita was just not able to put him away in that 1 minute.
It was amazing. So I think he's a really great wrestler, too. He deserved a lot of love. Those would be my top 3. But Homare would be number 1 because of the reasons you said.
Yeah.
He has a little bit of what Onsai had for All Japan, where it's like day one, like this is him. Like, him has arrived, and him is Homare. And I still think like they haven't even scratched the surface of how great he can be. Hopefully we see that going forward with his character. And I'd like to see some more consistent big matches for him, because I really am confident he's going to deliver huge.
Yeah, definitely. So others that we have here are Daiki Nagai from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kiarai Wakana from Ice Ribbon, Akira Kurogane, Stardom, right?
Yep.
Stardom, yes, that is. Then Ren.
He's in Mi Vida Loca.
Oh yeah, right. Yes. Then Ren Konatsu recently debuted in TJPW. Soy from Evolution. Sayaka Kurara, also from Stardom. And who else? Yuria Hime is in there. Akihiro Sahara and Kira Sama for best rookies. I quickly had
Another
to look up
foreigner too.
Yes, that's right. I had to quickly look up Daiki Nagai, but he debuted in 2024, so he's eligible. Yes. I want to ask you, what do you think about the current crop of rookies in New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Nagai is the best one, and I think they know that. That's why he joined the LIJ.
Yeah,
recently.
By far, I think.
I mean,
what do you think about Zane J?
Well, I don't. Well, he hasn't shown me a lot yet, but I mean, these guys are so young. I really don't make judgments on them.
Yeah.
The Nagai stands out because he has personality, but that doesn't necessarily. And I always try to warn people about this. By the way, and I'm not saying, like, again, I'm not trying to warn people on Senka specifically because I think she's a fine pick. I don't really have any arguments against her, but being the rookie role, the young lion role, is not that hard, actually. Like, there's been a lot of guys who have been great young lions that were not able to put it together and become great workers. And people like that. So if somebody's not sitting out as a young, kind of rough for me. But Nagai stands out because he has charisma. I don't necessarily think any of these people are guaranteed to be stars, particularly in New Japan. I also like Shoma Kato and Yasuda as well. They're all good to me, but I don't think any of them have shown, like, who are some of the best rookies that you remember? Like, to you, Strigga. You've been watching for a long time.
Yeah. Rookies that New Japan have put out.
Yeah, or really anywhere, but New Japan is in particular for this.
If it comes to best rookies, we have to put Yuma Anzai on top, of course.
Yeah. And he got pushed forward.
Yes. Sho Tanaka was great when he came in.
A lot of people thought Yo was the better.
I know.
Rookie.
It's the point that you always bring up.
Yeah, that's the point I will go
Shingo
to.
Takagi was great as a rookie back in the day in Dragon Gate.
I thought Hulk was the one that stood out to me more earlier, but because I was going back, that's the thing that really didn't get talked about very rarely at all. Heading into this year's Kobe World, this was the 20th anniversary of Dragon Gate's version of Kobe World, and I remember the first match.
Yes, right.
Yeah, so on the first match on the first Kobe World, they had this huge multi-man tag, and Hulk was like super green, and he just killed it. Like even right then and there, he was a superstar. If you could find that online, that show online of that match, it was an amazing match. It was Mochizuki versus Taka was the main event then in 2005. They had a feud going on at the time because they had a match at K-Dojo too. But they were Hulk was a great rookie. Shingo was an amazing rookie.
Yeah.
For New Japan, believe it or not, Yoshitatsu was one of the best young lions that they had. He was super popular with the fans. Him and Goto had an incredible match. I watched on Dave Ditch's old website back in around 2005, 2006, I think. And yeah, Sho and Yo were both considered exceptional rookies. And look what they turned into, when they had to wrestle a normal wrestler. So
it's really hard to tell. I was just going to bring up, not even Okada was considered like a standout rookie.
No, and even by the time he was a young lion, he was like a 5-year Toryumon guy.
Yep. That's true. So it's hard to tell. I really like this Katsuya Murashima guy.
He's good.
He has kind of this Riki Choshu build.
Yeah. So all of these guys have talent, but I'm really weary specifically in New Japan because any one or particularly all of these guys could easily turn into House of Torture projects in 3 years, and then there's Sho Tanaka. Like somebody who once had great potential, and now look where he's at.
I want to use this right now to say that I am really worried for Taishi Nagao in All Japan Pro Wrestling.
That's such a sad situation.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Taishi Nagao on a tour stop or whatever it was, it's really messy because All Japan Pro Wrestling is not really being very transparent about that situation, sadly. So at some point of the tour, when they went up to Hokkaido, I think it was, he was run over by the tour bus. And he's in a critical situation right now.
And he's been in critical condition for like 3 weeks or so. This isn't just about wrestling at this point. This man's life
about life.
is on the
Yes.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder how, like you said, I mean, you couldn't get this information out of anybody, but it just makes you wonder, how could this happen? How could this man get run over by the bus?
Yes.
It's very scary, and prayers up for Nagao, who, by the way, was a fantastic rookie in his own right.
Mm-hmm.
My prayers are with him, and just that he can recover, because, like I said, being in the hospital that long, it's really scary. And I wish that they would give us an update, but I mean, Japanese promotions are, I mean, Jay was talking about on VoiceGate, his interview. This year is really weird in terms of like tragic injuries like that. Whatever's going on with Issei, with Elite, looks like that company's imploding.
Yes, totally. What Shima said just after the show in Osaka, it's imploding.
Yeah, and T-Hawk like not taking a side, and they were all boys, and I just, God knows what happened. Naito leaving New Japan. It's just a crazy, like Goto with a tragic injury like that. It's just, I don't know. It's just a weird year so far, but man, Nagao had the worst of them all. I think because that was just, I mean, you have to hope. My wish is that it would be investigated, to be perfectly honest with you. Because it just seems like this is the kind of situation that questions shouldn't be left unanswered.
It really feels, I mean, like you brought up Issei Onitsuka. Glade specifically said that they didn't get the cops involved in that situation, which tells you, okay, there is something that maybe could have gotten investigated. But in that case of Taishi Nagao, that really needs to be investigated. I mean, somebody got run over by a truck. That can't just be like a wrestling thing, that it has to be investigated by federals.
Exactly. I absolutely agree with that. And again, I'm not putting the blame at anyone's feet. Like, I don't even want to speculate on it. But we don't know. And this is something that shouldn't be, okay, well, we're a Japanese company, so we keep it hidden. The law needs to take care of this.
That's a country that has laws, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we can't just keep it hidden. This is everyone's business. Like, I know that is a very common trope among Japanese companies, is to keep private business private. But this is a man's life that's on the line. And again, I'm not trying to criticize anybody. It probably was and may have been a total accident, but I just wish that for his sake, he would get, everything would just be checked out and investigated, so he could have peace of mind along with the fans.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that concludes the Jun Akiyama Best Rookie Award, and we go to the Most Improved Dylan, and this one is always an award that is very open, because you can tackle this from many different ways, and I want to have a discussion with you about specifically one guy that got votes here, because I also considered him and went back and forth with him. When I look at it, the one that came away for the listeners winning this award is Victoria Yuzuki from Marigold. And on number 2, we also have someone from Marigold, that is Rhea Seto. Number 3 are Hina and Saya Kamitani from Stardom. Dylan, where do you stand?
Yeah, they're all kind of tied for second. It was a close battle because so many different people got votes. This had the most
close. I mean,
the most amount of votes.
Include Kosei Fujita and Canon too, because it was so close.
Yeah, they were right there. A lot of different people got, there was a ton of one vote getters for this. Yuzuki's a good pick. Compared to the other ones here, I would say her and Seto got to a similar level. They both improved up to a certain point. The difference is Yuzuki started far lower than Rhea Seto was last year. It was bad. She was pretty bad. and I just think that she did improve more overall. Kamatani's an interesting one because a lot of people would have her as one of the best in the country right now, but I think it's pretty accurate to say that she took a big jump forward in 2025 compared to 2024.
Yeah. Then again, it's about what you just said. Where did these people start? You know?
Yeah, that's the big point of most improved is where did they start?
So I couldn't really go with the Saya Kamitani vote. I see where you're coming from with Victoria Yuzuki and with Rhea Seto. Difference between them, and you pointed out the one difference, but there is of course another difference that Rhea Seto was still at the beginning of this year was still working rookie matches.
Yep.
Opening matches, but now at this point she's developed to another position. Now part of this Darkness Revolution gig, and also in my opinion has improved considerably in the ring. Just a couple of weeks ago, I compared her to her contemporary rookie in Sendai Girls back in the day. Back in the day was 2 years ago, I think. Yuna. And Yuna, I think, is considerably better than Rhea Seto, but Seto has still improved pretty much. So I also had her in my top 3. Who else? When I thought about it, there was one name that immediately came to my mind, and that's Canon. Canon has had a good run in the King of DDT, and that is a guy that I had really never considered to be any kind of good. And not only did DDT manage to find something for him that apparently works right now with this Strange Love Connection, the tag team with Mao, but they also seemingly have found something in him that he is now a better wrestler than he used to be. When you point to the King of DDT run, and also in the tag matches that he does have with Mao, he is good. And he also had this, I mean, it was mostly hardcore matches, it was mostly interference matches, but he held his own when Damnation turned against him and he had the matches against them. I like that as well. So I would have never thought that I would actually vote Canon here, but for most improved, my vote goes to him.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't impress me. Like, I thought that he had a good match versus Higuchi. Anybody could do that. To be honest with you, like I've watched him otherwise, and I've tried to give him a ton of chances. I will give you that he's very popular with the crowd. This Strange Love Connection is great. Like, booking wise, as a talent, I think he's got a long way to go compared to a lot of these other people. I guess you could argue that he started off extremely low, and you'd be right with that. I do agree.
Exactly the argument, yeah.
But I just think others have improved to higher heights overall.
That's fair.
Like someone like Hina started where she was totally not talked about by anybody at the start of the year. Through her Future of Stardom title run, she's in an excellent position and has done a great job to the point where she's becoming like right up there with her sisters who have a legion of fans with both Rina and Hana. Now she's getting like that too. Basically, and the other two are either pushed highly or have a character that people gravitate towards. With Hina, she purely has her wrestling. And I think that's very impressive that she's been able to get that much. Like, she's built that much up just purely through her in-ring, which I think is really rare in this day and age, where you're not relying on a character, so to speak. Like, she only has her wrestling. And I think that's very impressive to me. Like, that's more impressive. I think Kamatani deserves a look only because I was really down on her before. I was not a fan of hers at all as a babyface. And I think that she's really, really improved as a heel. And I think you could argue that would be up there. But for me, I think that kind of goes against the spirit of the award to pick a main eventer for this. So I would probably pick... I'm looking at a lot of these options here. I think Kenta, great pick, honestly. Like, somebody who is literally one of the worst workers in the world. Since he's come back to Noah this year, he's been but above average.
Yeah,
Like,
right. It's right.
Like, he started lower than Canon. Like, that's really hard to do. Like, to be honest with you, and he was.
That's a great pick. Yes.
That was a really good. Like, I didn't even think about him until somebody voted him in. But now that I think about it, and I still feel like it goes against the spirit of the award, because he at one point was one of the best in the world, but he's been so bad for so long.
Was one of the worst in the world.
And he really improved this year because he really put effort in, and he deserves credit for that. Hina was a solid but unremarkable worker, whereas Kenta was actively terrible. And I think that they've gone in a better way. And Kenon, I don't think he's as good as Kenta is in this day and age. So I will go with Kenta as my pick. Like, Kenta was worse than Kenon and is better than him now. So to me, I have to pick Kenta.
I want to mention one more name, and I think that goes into a similar direction as Hina goes. She did not get a title run this year, which is maybe why she didn't get any votes. But whenever I watch TJPW, I am so impressed by the improvement that Moka Miyamoto is making, basically on every single show. She has been getting so good. Her takeover into the ground Manjigatame has been getting so much better with every single match that she's had in TJPW. So that is one name that immediately came to my mind.
My argument against her is that I thought she was good. So, and she's great. She's not always
good, but in her movement, she has improved so much.
It just feels like she's spinning her wheels in that promotion. I kind of wish she would leave.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Why it's hard for me to go with her for that reason. Nothing against her, because I really am a big fan of her and her style. But in that promotion, it just feels like nobody's improved. Like, pretty much, because you're just going nowhere.
So, Oleg, I really don't see it with most improved.
No, I disagree with that. Yeah.
I mean, he had this great run in the G1 last year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was one of the best guys to me, last year in the G1.
It sounds bad when I say it like that, but he has not improved from that. I mean, he's just good.
Oka's another one I thought her improvement was last year, more than this one. I really like the pick of Totoro. I'm a huge fan of hers, like, just as a person, but then to see her grow as a wrestler was really nice. Overall, I think that she's getting there. The problem with Ice Ribbon is so low right now that you're going to be hard pressed to get people unless you're like a really dyed in the wool fan. But she does deserve credit, and I will mention to the listeners what I mentioned to the one of the ones who voted for her. Believe in the Totoro.
Believe in the Totoro. I wanted to discuss Osawa with you, Dylan.
Yeah, I don't agree with this vote personally, but go on.
No, exactly why I wanted to discuss with you, because I didn't really understand the vote. Because there is really no reference point that you can go back. And I think one of the listeners that voted for Osawa said that he improved from a rookie position to being the guy on the roster. But the reference point really is there is this giant gap in between him being a rookie in Noah and being just put in and being the guy from one day to another. So I found it hard to count that as an improvement, because on this one night, on January 1st, it was just there from just out of nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he had like a brief run when he came back with All Rebellion. They did the injury stuff with him. Then he turned. They did this whole feud. Like you said, his big re-debut was on January 1st. And I mean, like you said, it's just there's nothing to compare him to. So it's not really a fair vote, in my opinion. But I guess I can see why someone would vote for him, but I just don't agree with it. That's all.
Yes. Okay, then we're on the same page with him. Illusion, I think, is another one that I want to mention. He improved last year already, but I think that he came more into his own being this character in Damnation now, and I really, really like watching him wrestle. Others, looking at the listeners' votes that jump out to me. What about Zion? Zion got a vote.
Oh,
I mean, he had this Champion Carnival run, and now he's in a tag team. Rita or Strong Machine J in Dragon Gate, I don't think that they, or Mochizuki Jr., they all have been on a similar level going into the year. Yeah. I guess that's it for this award, right?
I think Yohei deserves credit.
Yohei,
Had one of his best matches ever versus Naga, winning the title. His run afterwards has been like okay, but definitely better than where he was before. I think he did a really good job. So I'll shout out Yohei on this one as well.
Yes, that's a good call. All right, so we conclude this award and go to the best promotion, Dylan. We have 3 clear-cut winners here from the listeners' side. On number 3, it's Sendai Girls. Number 2, it's Dragon Gate. And on number 1, it is Stardom. And when I thought about these awards, those were the 3 promotions that came to my mind in exactly the same order as the listeners have them. I think specifically for Sendai Girls, it's been a great first half of the year. They are probably going to drop off because they massively profited from the Meiko Satomura retirement run. That helped them a lot to draw 2 events that were of a big stage that they probably won't be able to have in the next coming months anymore, or in the next coming years. Dragon Gate to me was, while I was sometimes frustrated with their storytelling, to me was the most consistent promotion that I was watching this year, and I was following along with the storylines. And Stardom, obviously, from the business side, drawing this great house for the ultimate retirement of Tam Nakano. I think that's the pick that most people gravitated towards, and that I don't think anyone can argue against right now.
Yeah, I think that, it kind of goes to your original point at the start of the show. When I was really digging into these awards, I think it shows that this half year has been kind of weak overall. So Stardom, I think, is the strongest promotion. They have clear positive indicators in business, storytelling, and match quality through the first 6 months. Even then, I don't love all of their storylines, and like even someone like Kamatani, as much as we're praising her and we all love her and all of that, she hasn't really done anything for like the last 2 months as Red Belt champion, and it's not her fault. It's because they don't book her in any kind of angle, period. Pretty much, like her last big match was against a literal rookie, which drew a big number at Corcoran, don't get me wrong. But like, it's not interesting storytelling. With Dragon Gate, I think there's a lot of flaws, actually, like in their storytelling. Business has not been hot. Yamato's been critically acclaimed as champion. And I like his run. It's probably the best of his career. I'll give you that. But there's so many times in the first half year, there's been stuff where I'm thinking, man, the DG that I know and love was so intricate in how they weave these things together. And I felt like DG just kind of, like the current DG is kind of, they're willing to skip some steps to certain things. And I think there's no greater example of that than the Kakuta turn, which
yes.
I remember us having a conversation about it heading into Dead or Alive. They did a big angle where the Courage came together, and I posed the question to you. I said, okay, what is the conflict here heading into this cage match? And as it turned out, there was no conflict. They just needed Kakuta to be heel. And did they have any follow-up to that whatsoever? No, they had Yoshioka go into a random match with Tanahashi at the Kobe World, and Kikuta spun off his own deal. It's like that whole Courage run like didn't even matter that much, like in hindsight. And I don't know how you could let that happen with what was your top babyface unit for like years.
It is exactly that. But you know, I went to look at other promotions, and
yeah, that's the problem. Like it's still one of the best ones, even with these criticisms.
All Japan really did not have a good first half.
Oh, they year. Oh yeah.
They are struggling. That's
they fully pivoted and transitioned to being a comedy fed.
Yeah, and that is going to bite them in the ass. And
we saw
the point that you've been bringing up really a lot, starting last year already, that everybody is a fool in this promotion.
Yeah,
and there's just few serious characters. That's
yeah. Sad. I mean, this is a bigger comedy promotion than DDT. Like if you really look at it up and down,
DDT has serious wrestlers. The champion right now, that DDT has, he really should be in All Japan.
And All Japan had a serious wrestler, and he's mysteriously disappeared for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
And what's going on with the schedule? Like you said, they haven't even had a show in a month.
No. When is their next show, actually?
It makes you wonder what is going on with this promotion. Like the president.
No, the next show is this week, actually. Yes.
Okay, so they are coming back. Mm-hmm. You know, but even still, it's been a really weird. The president
is a fool too, so it's completely in line.
Suwama came back. At least they recognize it. It seems like with the Suwama storyline, where he said, you know, the epic interview where he said it was too much pop and light in All Japan. So at least it seems like they recognize, like, hey,
something is off.
Yeah, maybe we're taking this a little bit too far.
Yeah.
I will say though that the last Triple Crown match was the best one of June's title reign against Hideki. You know,
by default.
Well, yeah, yes. I mean, it's a low bar, but they actually had a really good match. So, you know, I can get why they push so much into the Saito's direction, but I feel like they've lost the soul of what the company was. In the meantime, hopefully they can bounce back. But Anzai being gone is just so strange to me. Again, I mean, it's All Japan. We talked about it with, you know, the Knockout Series situation is much more serious, obviously. But even this Anzai thing, it's like he's gone without a trace. Like what? Like
yes.
You can't tell us where he's going or what he's doing. Is he in a movie? Is he going to be in Street Fighter with Goto too? Let us know.
Who knows? I think we have to talk about Pro Wrestling Noah, Dylan, here.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the business metrics of this Osawa run, you really can't discard that this promotion has been one of the best in Japan this year, where it's been hard for promotions to draw a great house in Kirkenhall, even for New Japan Pro Wrestling. But whenever Pro Wrestling Noah put Osawa on top of their Kirkenhall shows, they were close to a sellout or a sellout. And they even drew their best house in Osaka recently with the 25th anniversary special tag match, Keno and Kaito Kiyomiya against Naomichi Marufuji and Kenta. Close to 1,000 fans officially. So Pro Wrestling Noah has to be considered up there. But like you said, with the Dragon Gate, there are so many flaws underneath in the storytelling aspects of that. Then again, there is this project that I really like. I really like Monday Magic. So I'm a fan of that. If Monday Magic was a separate promotion, I would probably vote for it because I like it. Definitely from the business side, Noah is up there.
Yeah, they should be up there. Ozawa, for whatever criticisms we could have, has clearly worked as champion.
I'm really wondering where we stand at the end of the year with that.
And that's the thing. It's like it's worked for now, but I'm still not attaching my stocks to this company long term. Like because take him out of it. What is being built up that has been that interesting in the 6 months?
I couldn't point to anything.
I think the Yohei title reign has been good, the junior title reign. And even that's on a smaller level. It's not really game-changing or anything like that. But it's a nice little title run. even then, that didn't make a lot of sense because they built this whole storyline with Kotage fighting Super Delphin and fighting Yohei for the belt in his hometown, and then he just lost. Like, so even the storytelling there wasn't that great, and there just isn't anything. I think they've done a good job with Olka and the trio with Kenta and Keno, but overall, like, it doesn't feel like he's on the verge of a breakout. You know, like, there just isn't a lot there that's interesting to me in Noah right now. And I'm somebody that's not even that into Ozawa stuff as a fan, so they really going to have to work hard to get something going with the N1 and build different stars and different rivalries and just have something different, because I think that they're really struggling in that right now.
That's not only them. I mean, you can look at where the title matches lie. For example, Osawa has had 6 defenses in the first 6 months of his reign. And Hiroki Goto in New Japan Pro Wrestling, for example, he also had a lot of defenses in comparison to prior champions. So promotions, as we stand right now in 2025, they really need, or they think they need, these title matches on top to draw a great crowd. Or a good crowd.
And both of those champions were financially successful.
That's right.
Unlike their predecessors as well, who were like very not successful. So, you know, that, I mean, you can't really blame companies for going in that direction, really.
Yeah. Others that were mentioned in the best promotion voting were Marigold, New Japan Pro Wrestling, DDT, Pro Wrestling Noah, Actress Girls, Ice Ribbon, TJPW, Pure J, basically all of them that we have. ChocoPro was mentioned. I think they're really doing a good job whenever they do the YouTube shows. I like them. Evolution, I think, is a good call. I think that Zuama and Shuji Ishikawa are doing great work with this very tiny promotion. And I'm really positive that Evolution will be able to grow to a level that they will eventually be able to run Korakuen Hall.
I would love to see that. It would build up Chi-Chi's run as Joshi MVP.
Yes.
Which I will always be happy about. Marigold definitely improved. Their wrestling's getting better. Their big show of the year was successful with the Nanae retirement. I still think they've got some rounding out to do with the roster, I would say. And maybe this tournament will get people to make that final jump and they can have a great roster. New Japan, Goto's run was very successful. Nothing else really grabbed me this year. You know, I mean, the Best of Super Junior final was great. I liked Finley's matches before he got warped into the evil zone. But it didn't really grab my heart, to say the least. I think the Goto run was exceptional, and everything else was lacking. DDT, I think, has just been flat out bad. I don't think there's really any positive outside of Higuchi getting the title.
Yeah,
and hopefully,
I wouldn't go out on the limb to vote for them this year.
Yeah, like hopefully Higuchi can turn it around for them. The others, I mean, they're all so small that it's hard for me to really count them. If I'm going to vote for a smaller company, I would shout out Osaka Pro, actually.
Oh, yeah, good call.
Their shows that are on YouTube are all really strong. They've had good booking throughout their shows. You know, you'll get a good show with a big title match at the end or a tournament. Very easy to watch. They've kind of taken up the spot that Glate had, except their booking is a lot better. Actually, right. You know, like they make the best use of their talents. So I like Osaka Pro, and they're good. They're a successful company for their level.
Exactly.
Like overall, they run very well by Zeus and friends.
And you know, there has been some talk about promotions being really struggling in 2025. Of course, Big Japan Pro Wrestling is on the top of that promotions, with the Daisuke Sekimoto now leaving.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing there that will be able to draw anything to their own fault. Of course, we've been having this conversation years ago already.
Listen, if you're pushing Pondo as a top star, then it's time to close up shop.
Exactly. But if 0-1 is still running, that is my point of reference, Dylan, if 01 is still running, all the other promotions
Yes.
don't have an excuse to close up shop.
Yep. I mean, you're right about that, and they did a whole gimmick with Hayabusa where he's like, "There are no fans at these shows. Like, hopefully we can bring him back." And then Tanaka's like, "Hey, you were on these lame shows too, Hayabusa.
I want to wrestle you, Hayabusa." And Hayabusa says, "No." Okay, great story, man.
01 in a nutshell.
Yes.
Are you surprised, even despite our criticisms, All Japan didn't get a single vote in our awards half year?
I'm surprised they did not get a single vote. Yes, I have to say, because
that shows you where they're at. To me,
yeah.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Sondre's Discord server that was voted promotion of the year.
He didn't even vote for it. Like, I thought I taught him better than this. Like, you always self-promote, Sondre.
Dylan, what would a Sondre produced show look like?
Well, I've seen his Journey of Wrestling updates for Dramatic Dream Pro, and I told him 3 years from now he ended up booking Mochizuki Jr. versus his dad, career versus title match. And I told Sondre, I'm pulling rank. I'm playing the political game and ensuring that Mochizuki Sr. will win and not let Junior get the title because I do not want him to retire.
Love it. I think Sondre produced show would feature a lot of actress girls talent. It definitely would feature Kenta Miyahara in some position.
Well, his server also is not a promotion, really. I mean, he doesn't make any money from that, I don't think.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's not really a promotion.
You're not a good promoter, Sondre.
Well, I mean, like
most... 01.
Well, there's many wrestling promoters that do not make any money from their shows. So, you're not that far off. You're probably being in the black, absolute zero is probably ahead of where many promoters end up, to be honest.
Yes, just don't ever run any shows, Sondre.
Yes, exactly. That's the best call, so you don't lose your ass on everything that you have. Please don't run shows ever.
Okay, that's a great transition, Dylan, to the best show that we have, show of the half year. So, once again, we had a runaway winner. And to no surprise, that has been All-Star Grand Queendom from Stardom. Number 2 is The New Beginning in Osaka. And number 3 is Meiko Satomura, The Final. Dylan, your votes.
I think that this year is one of the more competitive categories, to be honest, actually. Normally best show is kind of really so-so, or a lot of shows that didn't stand out. Pretty much all of these, they got more than one vote, were really strong and memorable. So I do appreciate that. To me, I just can't imagine a good argument against Grand Queendom.
No, there is none.
If you're asking me, everybody's playing for second place. To me, the second best show and the one that really captured my heart was Kakuto Tantedan 3. I thought that was the best version of that show. I know the first two got a lot of buzz, but to me, I always felt like it was okay, people who liked Battle Arts made this show. This was the first show that captured the real spirit of Battle Arts, in my opinion, that they've ran. Top to bottom, I thought it was an excellent card. Every match brought something to it. And I thought they all brought something different. And they really captured the body. It was very small, not nearly as financially successful as Queendom, and it didn't have the bells and whistles that show would have, obviously. But in terms of a pure wrestling show, that was really great to me. I also preferred Sariism 7 to 6. But Grand Queendom was the best show. To me, it's not even a close... Yeah,
definitely. For this category, I went with the listeners in exactly the same order. I think that New Japan did not put up a great show as in comparison to this one, New Beginning in Osaka, has just been the best show that they have had, including that great moment with Hiroki Goto winning the title.
Yeah.
Kid and Yoda Tsuji at that great match. And even on the undercard, we had some really good singles matches. It was definitely the best New Japan show this year. Mako the final was just an incredible emotional run. But not only that, it also had some real quality matches. And I want to point out, I think my favorite battle royal in Japanese pro wrestling ever, with Ryo Mizunami winning the battle royal over Minoru Suzuki in the end. That was such great storytelling. That was a great show, and with the retirement, obviously, very emotional.
Right.
Another show that, or two other shows that I want to point out to, not my top three, but very close, is Dragon Gate's Rainbow Gate 2025 Day 2 with Yamato versus Mochizuki. I thought it was a great show, top to bottom. And the Crazy Fest, Bob Sasaki produce, refereeing live 25th anniversary Crazy Fest, I thought was the superior show compared to the Death Pain Invitational this year. That I liked more than that. So yeah, I ultimately went with the listeners. Others that we have is Marigold Shine Forever, Grand Princess from TJPW, the 10th anniversary for Natsu and Saori. You mentioned the Kakoku Taidan show that also got votes here, and my vote, like two other votes with Rainbow Gate and Barb Sasaki show also got votes. Looking at the others, No Other New Year is a show that I did not like at all, but it came away much better from other standpoints. I was very down on that show. Yeah. Wrestle Dynasty, I was not there. I was at Oz Academy on that day because I did not know how long that show would go, and I needed to go to the airport. So I chose a 2-hour Yoshi show on top of that.
Well, don't worry. Not a lot of people were there at Wrestle Dynasty, so it's okay.
I know. Yeah, there's lots of other shows that got one vote. I mean, there's not been that many great shows top to bottom the first half of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to go back to last year because I feel like there was a stronger year this year than last year between Grand Queendom and the Wrestling Detectives 3. Like the shows last year didn't stand up to those two or even the thing with New Beginning is like the main event was amazing and the moment and all of that. It was a good show. You had the big angle with Shota shaving his head too, which we both praised a lot at the time. They didn't really go anywhere with it after, but I mean, we praised it at the time. They had some decent undercard matches. It was a good show, but I don't think it compared to the top two. As an overall show, I really liked the Natsu and Saori show and the Mako final, but they were more to me like more vibe shows than like great shows. Overall.
Like I said, I disagree with the Mako show. That really had some good wrestling on it.
You had the big tag match, but
yeah,
like I like up and down. I didn't think it was a great wrestling show. Like compared to the other one, compared to the Wrestle Detective show. Barb's show was great.
Yep,
that deserves a ton of love. Marigold was a great show up and down too. I thought the Conversion was a great show that got a vote.
Conversion really was a great show. Yeah.
Yeah, Stardom does a great job. One thing I do like about them is that pretty much every match has a purpose on their shows. And that's another case of that with Conversion. There was like one or two matches that didn't really mean much, but even then they had a story going into them, so I like that. Yeah, I just think Greg Queen was so far ahead, it's hard to argue like anything else.
It is.
I mean, that was one of the better. If we were doing a show of the decade poll, like that should be considered, in my opinion. Like for the 2020s, like I can't think of
definitely.
Yeah, I can't think of many that have beat that in the last few years. I thought it was better than the first one with Julie and Tom as the show.
Oh yeah, I think so, considerably better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. That is best promotion. From there on, we go to the best bout. For the listeners, the best bout happened at the end of June, just barely within the time frame of our conversation here. It is El Desperado versus Jun Kasai. Then number 2 is Gabe Kidd versus Kenny Omega from Wrestle Dynasty. And number 3 is Tam Nakano versus Saya Kamitani. This is a very subjective award, I think, and it comes down to what you really like in Japanese pro wrestling or in pro wrestling in general. More subjective than in some of these awards that we have. I mean, best promotion in some ways is subjective as well, but people will always look at the business metrics as well. But here, this is just for the best bout that happened in Japan, and my actual favorite match did not make the top 3. It was voted on number 4, and that is Hiroki Goto versus Zack Sabre Jr. from The New Beginning in Osaka, with the title change that we just mentioned. That was pretty far and away my favorite match this year. Just not only from the in-ring aspects, but also from the emotional aspect. I thought it blew away lots of other things that I've seen this year. And mind you, just that's why I'm saying that it's so subjective. I am someone that never fully was emotionally invested in the Stardom kind of match. That is something that I have to put out here. That is why I rarely vote for these matches. I always watch these matches, but I've just few times these really are able to emotionally grab me, and I know that others think completely differently about that, but that's where I'm at. So I know that Sari and Shuri also was one of the matches that lots of people came away liking a lot, but that did not make my top 3. My number 2 match of the year is, I don't know if it got any votes. I would have to look here. It did get votes, actually, yes. My number 2 match of the year is Yamato versus Masaki Mochizuki for the Dreamgate title in June. One of the most, I don't even know how to, unconventional, I probably would have to say, unconventional Dragon Gate matches that I've seen in a long, long time, where it was not a Dragon Gate match that was a flawless match by any means, but it had flaws. It had some different aspects to it. For example, with Mochizuki on the ground kicking Yamato in the face just out of the blue. It was just amazing. And Mochizuki at this point of his career still being able to put out this kind of performance just blew me away.
That's something I've put in on all of Yamato's matches. Like what you said is a great point, because I felt that way about him versus Jason as well the month before, where like it was not a flawless match. I don't want to say by design, but the things that were not great about it actually played into the greater overall story and made it great in its own way. And obviously with Mochi, it took it to a whole new level. So I've noticed that in a lot of Yamato matches, I would say that exact thing that you said.
And
I think it's made it better for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can also point back to the Daiki Yanagichu match that we too did not particularly like because of the circumstances, but that was also very unconventional in many ways.
Yeah, I would say I probably enjoyed it a bit more than you, but not as much as some other people who had really grabbed. But yeah, that's a good point as well. Again, that's the Yamato title reign. You could tell that there's a lot of thought put into these matches, and that was another great example of it with Mochi.
My number 3 match is El Desperado versus Jun Kasai, the match that the listeners voted for as number 1. How about you?
I am fascinated to see how this vote happens at the end of the year.
Yeah,
because I think that there was some recency bias. To be honest.
Definitely. That always happens. We always have some recency bias. We always have some matches at the end of the year in late December that in the end get a lot of votes as well.
I think it'll be interesting because to me, I totally agree on your winner. That, in my opinion, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Goto from February, I think it was literally perfect. Like, I wouldn't have changed anything about the moment was great, but how they worked it was the best I've ever seen Zack Sabre Jr. wrestle in his life. And I liked the follow-up. I liked the sequel a lot. Like, was a fantastic match in its own right, with him being more of the bully heel and terrorizing the arm. For whatever reason, Goto really just brings the absolute best out of Zack. He brings the best out of a lot of people, as it turns out. But I thought that was literally a perfect match. I would not have changed anything about it. These other matches, I don't think were anywhere close to that level, to be honest. And I like a lot of these matches, don't get me wrong. I liked those Sorry matches that you mentioned. I thought Shuri versus Sorry I personally liked it from Sorryism more than the conversion. A little bit better.
I think Sondre has made the similar point.
Yeah, so I liked it a little bit better the first time, but they were both fantastic match of the year level. Shuri and Mayu was a fantastic match at the Grand Queendom. I thought that was the best match on the show. Tom and Saya was like amazingly emotional, and they played it exactly how their fans would have reacted the most for it.
Yeah.
Despy and Kasai, I have to say, I really thought their match a few years ago was better. Like, overall, I thought there was much more to it this first time. This was a great match, don't get me wrong, but it really kind of turned into like, okay, we're going to hit 5 different Pinche Locos in this match, and we're just going to do a bunch of our big moves back and forth. The other one I thought had a lot more soul to it and more thought put into it. This had a lot of heart and soul, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it compares as much to the other, the first version of theirs. Even actually the triple threat at Barb's show, I actually thought that was as good or better version with Takeda than this singles match. And they're both great, don't get me wrong, but I didn't come away thinking, when that match was over, I didn't come away thinking, damn, this is one of the best matches of the year. Right? Let alone one of the best matches of all time. I thought it was great for what it was, and I do not compare it to the top matches.
Yeah, this is one of the matches that I watched twice, because when I watched it first, I thought, okay, yes, that was a good match. Then I saw the vote, and I thought, okay, I did not like it as much as others did. I watched it again yesterday, and I came away liking it better. I think there was definitely there definitely was an increase in the spots that they did throughout the match, but I give you that the emotional aspect of the first one was not there in that way. Still, though, I came away thinking, okay, yes, I can put it into my top 3, and I can be cool with that.
I actually compare it very. Yeah, you go on.
No, go on. I was going to go to another point.
Like, I really graded on a similar level to Kid and Omega. Like, another match that got like this huge reaction when it happened. And I thought it was a great match. I'm not even arguing against it per se, other than it didn't grab me to that level. I thought it was a great match that was not on the level of like a Goto and Zack.
I see that. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I was thinking about a few other matches that I was thinking about to put it into my top 3, but they eventually did not make the cut. But I want to mention those matches. For others, maybe you want to check them out if you haven't seen them. So the matches that I had 2 in my honorable mentions are Katsusada Higuchi versus Shinya Aoki from the opening of the King of DDT tournament.
That almost made my top 3. Like, that to me is like a match.
It is barely, yes. Yeah. It is barely not in my top 3. It was an amazing match. Sari versus Shuri from 621. Then I think a match that is... I should have gotten more votes, in my opinion. Mayu Iwatani versus Nanae Takahashi. There was one of the matches that I would also call unconventional. First match for Mayu in Marigold.
Yep.
Menta Kid versus Genkai in Menta Kid's retirement match from May 11. That is free on YouTube. Amazing match.
That did get a vote.
Yeah. Yep. And
Yeah.
2 from the Champion Carnival. First, Kento Miyahara versus Kango Mashimo from April 12th.
Yep.
And Yuma Anzai versus Madoka Kikuta from April 23.
Yeah, both of those were awesome.
Yeah.
I agree. The vote with Anzai versus Ashino from January 3rd. That was a fantastic match.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that, you have a lot of great matches to look forward through Japan and any company, really. I thought that on Tom Nakano's retirement road, she had a match with Sari Ano, which was by far the best Ano match of the year, let alone, one of Tom's best as well. Well worth watching. I think there was a lot of great matches. We could go on and on and on, really, when you think about it. But I hope for everybody's sake you check out a lot of these matches because there is some really, really great ones out there. Also, if you're in the mood for like an emotional type of match, check out Rina versus Vinny on the Hana Kimura show. The main event there, I thought they did a fantastic job there as well. It's worth mentioning. But Higuchi and Aoki, man, that was a tremendous match. That would definitely be, a top 3 contender. It's right up there. Well worth watching.
When we are going to talk about best wrestler, of course, Higuchi can't be in the conversation because he just only returned and is just only having his singles run now. But I'm hoping that he'll be able to get a proper run on top this year, and I'm really interested to see where we stand at the end of the year when it comes to best wrestler.
Yeah, like this is one of those that that we'll talk more about it when we get to that award, but it's going to be fascinating to see how the second half plays out.
That definitely is true.
But let me just say one thing. I'm really having a hard time imagining something will beat that Goto Zack match for me.
Yeah, me too.
Like, even if there's an emotional moment or he wins the title back somehow, I don't think the match itself will be as perfect as that one was. It's going to be really hard, in my personal opinion. I'm really surprised it didn't get, it wasn't in the top 3.
Yeah, I ultimately agree with that. From there, from the best match, we go to the best tag team. For the listeners, we have Jackie Kamai and Rita of formerly Gold Class, now Love and Peace on number 3. We have Wing Gori on number 2. And close winner, just closely above Wing Gori, was the Astronauts. And I don't know about you, then I feel that's always a default vote for lots of people. And I even had a hard time to think about who would be my best tag team, because I ultimately think that this 2025 first half of the year was not a good 6 months for tag team wrestling overall in Japan.
Oh, not at all. I would say, I guess Astronauts did a lot of stuff that was a little under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
I guess their biggest spotlight would have been in DDT, with the tag title run, and they did bring it to Big Japan and a lot of the undercard stuff. But how many people are watching Big Japan? I kind of agree with you. That's like a default fault, kind of.
I mean, they had the DDT title run was good. They had good matches in that run. They had some good stuff on the Evolution shows as well. Like you said, the Big Japan stuff was mostly on the undercard. So I want to say that this first half of the year, is not even in the top 5 of the Astronauts in history.
Yeah. And maybe that'll bounce around in the second half of the year.
Maybe.
I think Wing Gori's had a great year.
Yeah.
They're more interesting to me than the Astronauts to watch because they're doing fresh stuff. And they've had a great run. I think they've done a really good job top to bottom. They've delivered in pretty much every big spot they've asked them of. And it's helped elevate somebody in Hanan that I really didn't think was doing great on her own. and they really got her on track to where they would have want her in this team with Saida, who also benefits from this. Their match on the conversion was a great match against Poi and Ano. Their match against FCC on Grand Queendom was a great. I mean, it looks like it might be kind of a send-off almost for FCC, the way things are going. I think Poi and Ano actually have a really good tag run. If you look at their run this year, they're not like getting title shots or anything like that, or not title runs or anything like that. But together, they have great chemistry and have a lot of great matches. Business tag, they've done a good job in All Japan with Kento and Aoyagi. They're another one that feels like a default pick almost, but their run is really good. They get the most out of their opponents pretty consistently. I would vote for Wingori personally, but I don't think that the Astronauts is a bad pick. They're just a boring pick, ultimately.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean they're wrong, though.
No. I do have them on my number 3. The Astronauts, that is. I have Wingori on my number 1. And my number 2 pick for best tag team is Jackie Kamai and Rita from Dragon Gate. And I'm sad that they didn't get more of a singular tag run. But whenever you watch these two be part of a multi-man match, these two stand out so incredibly. And even when they have their regular tag team matches, they stand out. I think they are just tremendously underrated as a tag team. And this is a vote that that also mostly came together because I looked at other teams, just like you mentioned, Business Tag.
Yeah.
They didn't even have lots of matches with one another in the first half year. I looked at Yuma Anzai and Rising Hayato, and I liked their run, but often enough, the matches that they had were below my high expectations, I want to say. So that is the 3 that I came away with.
Yeah, I mean, Jackie and Rita, I mean, they're third for us in our votes. So, I mean, they are getting some respect. I think if you're a DG viewer, you know how great they are.
You know, yes.
Yeah, if you don't know them, it's not necessarily against them. It's because you don't watch the company more so than them specifically.
Yeah, that's right. That's fair.
They are great, though. I mean, they are a fantastic team. I wish they would be pushed more to have actual tag matches, and I think that would really win me over to vote for them more because I think the talent level is fantastic. Rita, in particular, I think is an absolutely excellent wrestler. So I hope for more of them in the second half.
My one hope is now that the Hio and Benkei tag team wasn't the team of Love and Peace that won the Twin Gate, that it is Rita and Kame eventually.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. If they gave Shun and Homare a run, that could be great. They still own that title shot.
Yes, they do. They do. But I don't think. I mean, now with the turn, they might even get to the title shot. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they'll cash that in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, when we look at New Japan Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Noah, the tag team landscape has been so dire. I mean, I've said it with Callum before when we had Best Foreigner, what happened there. In Pro Wrestling Noah, we had the Omos run and the Team 2000X run as well. It was just not good. Yeah. What about Alpha Wolf and Dragon Bane?
They're great. Like, they're always consistent. I don't think they have a lot of great teams around them to get above the level they're at. They're always like 3.5 to 3 3/4 in star rating terms. I don't think they have the teams, and they're also not in position to have great matches. They're always in 10-minute openers or second match on the card type of matches.
I hope they get more matches in Dragon Gate. That would be great.
I don't even remember. Yeah, I mean, if they were ever to do that, I'd be up for it.
They're going to be back in early August. They're going to redo the match that who was it? Was it Alpha Wolf that had the concussion?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, they are going to do the match again, basically. Is
it Arbuya then?
No, that's on the August Kurkan.
Okay. No, that'd be great. I agree with you. If they had more DG matches, that would be great. I actually liked what they had in mind with the Keno and Oka team.
Yes.
But they kind of switched off of that.
Yeah.
I mean, New Japan is just a joke. Like, that's not even...
yeah.
Like, the tag belts couldn't be more worthless at the moment.
And not only the heavyweights, but also the juniors.
Juniors are even worse than the heavyweights. At least Taichi and Ishii are a fresh team. Like, it's not... The titles have a long way to go, but at least they could do something with them if they chose to. I just don't think they will.
Yeah. What about... I don't know, man.
It's rough. I mean, this landscape this year, like it's bad, man.
So other vote getters, except for the top 3 that we have, are Juma Anza and Rising Ayato, FWC, Hazuki and Koguma, Team 200 kilogram, Shiro Hashimoto and Yu, and Nanae Takahashi and Seri Yamaoka, as well as Red Energy, Miyuki Takase and Mika Iwata.
They're all good, but like they're not doing anything special, like match quality wise this year.
No. Yeah.
Yet half of them might be breaking up. Like Nana is gone.
What is it with tag team wrestling in Japan, Dylan?
Yu is about to retire.
Yeah.
And FWC are like on their last legs, it seems like. And Anzai and Hayato also broke up. Like, so like half of our vote getters are toast, like for the year-end awards.
Yes, that's right.
Like, what is this award going to look like at the end of the year? If this is what we had before all these people retired.
There has to be a big turnaround, especially in the big promotions when it comes to tag team wrestling, man.
Yeah, and the thing is, they could if they wanted to. The talent's there.
It's not hard. It's not hard.
Yeah.
And especially for a promotion like All Japan Pro Wrestling, that has always been one of the top drawing points, a big World Tag Team title match in the main event of a Korakuen Hall show.
And their champion is a tag team wrestler at the moment. So you'd think they would really build his Triple Crown matches with big tag matches up and down.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the Twin Gate champions for the first half of the year? Like, they didn't get any votes, like Minoru and Lee.
I mean, they didn't have any defenses, right? They had, I think, 2 defenses.
Yeah. They had a Rey de Parejas, though.
Yeah, they were in the Rey de Parejas final, right? Yeah.
They had all run, but there just wasn't anything standout.
After that, and there wasn't anything standout, and after that, they basically went to multi-man matches, and they weren't as standout in these multi-man matches as Jackie Kama and Rito were.
And that's why I can't vote for these DG teams, because they're really not... Like, the tag stuff specifically has not been that great. It's all multi-person matches.
Yeah, I also looked at the Shun, Skywalker, and Tomare team, but except for the Rey de Parejas, they didn't have anything.
Yeah, exactly. They moved away from that pretty much immediately after winning the tournament, which was another case of bad booking that I didn't like. That's why I didn't love their run this year.
Yeah. Yes, not a good of a year for tag teams. So, Dylan, best junior heavyweight. We have two runaway winners actually, in comparison to the other vote getters. Number 3 is Dragon Daya. Number 2, Kosei Fujita. And number 1, El Desperado. Would you agree with El Desperado?
I think like he's another one where it feels like he should win by default, more or less. But I really didn't sense like he elevated the belt in any way, like or had this amazing run throughout the tournament. I thought Fujita had a better in-ring run in the Best of Super Juniors than anybody. I mean, that tournament was dire. Like, let's just be honest, like up and down.
Yeah.
But this is kind of the same argument I would have for Goto for Tanahashi Trophy. You could play with Kosei. Until another junior heavyweight has a match that great with a player on the level of Yo, then he's the best junior. Like, it's hard for me to... Yeah, like, it's hard to argue that with me because there's been nobody on this list that had a match like that with someone like Yo. So, to me, Fujita would probably be who I would land to. This is not an MVP award, as we mentioned. I think Yohei did a good job with the GHC, like bringing it back to some prominence. What from the Dyer, Hayata, and Daga eras that he was succeeding. That deserves some credit. And otherwise, I mean, I think when you kind of measure, it's tough because the DG, like everybody's kind of a junior, right?
Yeah.
But I think you kind of have to measure it with like the Brave Gate guys or like the junior heavyweight division of DG. I mean, it says so right in the title that there's a weight limit for lighter wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought UT actually made that belt
yes.
very interesting. And I think he deserves love. Like he's a great contender for this above Daya, in my opinion.
Oh, way above Daya.
I didn't really agree with that vote.
I would even, if we're just talking about Dragon Gate, I'm putting Jackie Kamai and Ryoya Tanaka above Daya when it comes to work.
I put Rita above all of them.
Yeah.
Personally. Yeah. If like purely wrestling.
I see that.
None of these guys got really singles opportunities, though.
Nah.
So, like, outside of UT, again, I think, like I said, it would probably lean towards Despy or Fujita. For me, I think Fujita was a better in-ring performer than Despy in the first half.
I agree with that, ultimately.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think about others. I was trying to go to Noah, and you mentioned the Yohei run. That's been kind of good for him. In All Japan, I was thinking about Musashi and Seki Yoshioka. But then again, there's just so few matches that you can really point to.
Yeah. And they cut Musashi's reign off a little early, I thought.
Yeah. So
they're
Kosei,
great, though.
Right?
Yeah,
they're great. But Kosei, and it's not only Yo Dylan, it's also the completely unconventional match that he had with Kushida in the tournament.
That was great. That was one of the best matches of the tournament.
Yeah, I'm going with Kosei.
What do you think about Homare?
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting pick.
Because he if you count skill and like what they've shown in addition to a kayfabe push, he would be above all of these DG guys that we've named. To me, like he's more important to the company.
Very good Kirken main event with Yamato when you consider the length of his run.
That was after the half-year mark, but it was a good match. It was very good.
Wouldn't put him above Kosei.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
But he's worth looking at, I think. I mean, any one of these guys, though, in DG, if they get on a hot run, like the second half of the year, let's say Ryoya has a great Brave Gate run, he's somebody to look at. If he holds the belt all 6 months and has great matches, he might be somebody worth looking at in the future.
It could be.
I also think that Rising Hayato is positioned to have a great year, a great second half of the year with the junior tournament. That's and potentially winning it. If he goes on a big run, or Atsuki, if either one of those go on a big run in the tournament and get some great defenses under their belt, they might have a leg up over the Musashis and Yoshiokas in the first half of the year for All Japan.
Yes. Other vote getters here, Yamato. Yeah, I mean, Yamato has been great in these matches that we already pointed out.
Yeah, it's another one. Like the letter of the law, he's a junior, but the spirit of the award.
I didn't get any awards.
Yeah, it's nothing against his performance.
Yeah,
it's because he's like the main event guy, which isn't really what this award is about.
That's right. UT and Homare did get some votes. Yohei, Kushida as well. Mei Suruga. I think that's a great pick actually, because on the small level that ChocoPro is operating, Mei Suruga's Super Asia Dream title matches are really, really great.
Yeah, she's a fantastic performer. Very easy to like, no matter what kind of fan you are.
Absolutely. Mochizuki Jr., except for the tournament, for the Brave Gate tournament, he didn't really have anything to specifically point out to, I think.
That's the thing. If you talk talent-wise, he should always be in contention. The problem is they don't use him. Like like he's one of the guys I would consider like an underpushed. Like he needs to be near the top of the list. Like I feel like he's one of their best guys, but he's like buried on the card right now.
Yeah. Clark Connors had the match with Despy, and that's it.
Yeah.
Fumino Ryabe, yeah, has had some really good singles matches. For example, the one with Ulka Sasaki on Monday Magic.
Yeah, that was very good. That wasn't as good as Kosei and Yo though.
No.
Like you know, let's be realistic about this.
Then we have Rita, Jackie Kama. We already talked about these two.
They're great.
Munetatsu Nakamura. Great
That's great.
talent from Ganbare Pro Wrestling. I really, really like the guy. Also, on ChocoPro, he had a great singles match with Hakane Shino.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorites. Mude Nakamura is a really talented guy. Anytime he shows up, I love watching his matches on GunPro.
Mei Seira had a great match with Mei Suruga as well. Yeah.
Well, she had great matches with a lot of people. Like Mei Seira, to me, should be up there. Like if you, and I think it's a similar situation as DG, where like any of these people are technically considered juniors, but really for a junior heavyweight, it's a Stardom or a Joshi company would be a high-speed title, and that's her deal. Like that's what she's all about. Her versus Suzu was an incredible match on Grand Queendom. Everything she does. She's like a Flamita, except she also is trusted with a singles run in Stardom, where every single match she's in, she makes things better just by her wrestling.
Yeah. And of course, Yo and Rising Hayato also got votes. Yep, that's the best junior heavyweight award. Dylan, we go now to the best wrestler, to the of course, the best junior heavyweight is the Yushin Thunder Liger Trophy, and the best tag team of course, the Kawada Taue Best Tag Team Award. I'm sorry for not mentioning that. And now we go to the Hiroshi Tanahashi Trophy for best wrestler. Dylan, did Hiroshi Tanahashi for you win the Hiroshi Tanahashi Trophy?
No, someone else voted for him, though. So that is something. Just like I said with Kosei, until somebody else has a match as good with somebody on the level of Callum Newman as Goto had, then Goto's the best wrestler to me. Let alone the fact he arguably had two of the best matches of the year, including my match of the year. So to me, it has to be Goto.
Has to be Goto for you. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's nothing against that vote. When I look, let me see.
He was second place in the.
Oh yeah, he's second place after. I actually have it in the exact same order as the listeners. I have Sari on my number 1, Goto on number 2, and Mayu Iwatani on number 3, even though Mayu is tied for the listeners for second place. And then we have a tied third place as well with Desperado and Yamato. But my top 3 is Sari, Goto, Mayu Iwatani. Sari for the sheer output that she had in multiple different Yoshi promotions, and the highlights that she had were, in my opinion, just incredible and amazing. Goto, if we do this show tomorrow, Dylan, I might be going with Goto. I went back and forth between these two, ultimately landed with Sari. But Goto's IWGP heavyweight title run is definitely something that is far and away one of the best that we have seen with this incarnation of the title, I would say. Mayu has had a great run in Stardom in the first couple of months, including the Shuri match, it was, right?
Yeah.
Then she jumped to Marigold, and I already shouted out the match that she had with Nanae Takahashi. That was incredible. She had the very good match with Victoria Yuzuki as well. So she just continued to be my Uatani in Marigold. Well, who are some others that you voted for?
I think Sari's great. I think it's interesting because you said you weren't as into her matches with Shuri as other people were.
I'm not as emotionally attached to those matches. That's why I to those Stardom matches, but I'm very emotionally attached to Sari matches.
Okay, so even if, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, Sari and Shuri was both great matches to me.
Yeah, great stuff.
I think Shuri, honestly, like batting average wise, every time she gets a chance, it's like match of the year level. Whether it's Sari or Mayu, she deserves a lot of great credit. Sari's year was very good. It was better than good. It was great. I enjoyed her matches. Obviously, everyone's going to point to the Shuri matches. I thought that her match versus Mako and Vinny earlier in the year were like they were very good, but I wouldn't say great. Actually, like I thought that they were a little overhyped because of the name value. And other than that, I mean, she's been working hard to elevate younger talent. People like Rana and Aya Sakura and all of that in some of the smaller shows. But those matches weren't as good as the Callum match that Goto had. So, to me, Goto peaks higher, and he has the Callum match in his back pocket, which is really important. But Sari is definitely a worthy candidate. It wouldn't shock me at all because she's heading into the 5-star. I think it's very likely she will repeat by the end of the year.
Yeah, Shuri's off, I think, for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, I'm saying Sari will be in the 5-star and has a very great chance to repeat. Shuri obviously won't come in, but I think for the first half of the year, she had a great run. I think somebody like Mayu, you could definitely point to, like the big match versus Shuri and the big match versus Nanai that you mentioned. Both of those were great. Somebody that I really liked, actually, I think if you're judging based on, like, okay, so-and-so wins because they have the most 5-star matches, or, like, they have Sari's level of quantity, they shouldn't win. But if you look at what they did, two people that I would say deserved credit as, like, two of the best pure wrestlers of the half year would be, first of all, also in Marigold, I think Mirai was by far the best wrestler of their current, like their roster before Mayu. I thought she got the absolute best Utami match we've seen in years at this point on the Marigold show. I thought she had great matches and got the best out of a lot of really green talent. And whenever they debut somebody new, she's always basically who they turn to for their first match. I think she deserves a lot of credit. And in a similar vein, whereas I don't think he had the best year of match quality, but I think he got the absolute most out of every opportunity he was given, would be Anzai in All Japan.
Yes. I have him up here too.
Yeah, during that carnival, it felt like he was trying to save that tournament, and nobody else was even close to his level. So I really thought, and I was really disappointed that he didn't get even any votes. Well, he got one vote, but he should have had way more.
Like we said, in the company where everybody is a fool, he is right now the sole standout that practically still embodies the spirit that the company should go after, but now he's gone.
Yeah, for no reason that we know of.
Yeah, that's where we are.
I don't know.
We already talked about matches of the year with Yamato. I think he could also have a case not to be the best wrestler in the entire country, but being in the conversation before third or fourth, maybe.
I wonder get the top 5 matches of all these people and measure them against each other. Like the top 5 of the top 5.
If you go into the top 5, I think Goto is the winner.
Yeah, because he would have both Zack matches.
The Callum match, it's not a top match, but it could be a tiebreaker match.
It's a great performance, like singularly by him. That might have been the best one-man performance of any match. You have the Tanahashi match, which is a really strong match, I thought. And the Finlay match, which was a fantastic match.
Right.
So that would be his top 5. With Sari, you get the 2 Shuri matches. You get Mako and Vinny. And you can kind of spread it out for your 5th, like what you would pick with her. Maybe some of the tag matches she had. I'd have to look for them to see specifics.
Yeah, that's definitely something that she also was very great at, the tag matches. Yamato, we already laid that out with him, the Mochizuki match, the KZ match, the Strong Machine J match, Daiki Yanagiuchi and Homari matches. Those
Omari wasn't in the first half of the year.
That's right.
but-
Homari was not in the first half, but Daiki was.
Yeah. I think that the thing is Shuri peaked higher, but I think Yamato may have had a more full run.
Mhm.
Like I feel like it's like same thing with Goto. And then who was the other one? Mayu. Again, you have the Shuri match and Nanai, Yuzuki. Yeah. I mean, I just think it's interesting, like to look at them, like their absolute peaks.
Yeah,
how they stack up. I mean, Despy got a lot of love too.
I was just going to bring up when we compare Despy's top work to the others that we just pointed out, Despy drops off.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think he's got the two big matches, and then
yeah.
Nanai had a fantastic year. It's just unfortunate that it came to an end on there. But she's another one. She's like Mirai. Like she got the best out of everyone, and she got to have the huge peak with the retirement match. I also think Aoki is another one that deserves a ton of credit. He got the absolute most out of who he could in DDT. Now Higuchi coming in. If this run turns out well in the second half of the year, he could be somebody to watch as well.
Yep. Okay. This concludes Best Wrestler, I would say. We had a conversation about some of them. There were lots of one-vote getters that I don't think we have to get into. Or would there be someone that you want to point out? Tanahashi, maybe?
No, I mean I don't think he's best worker overall.
Yeah.
I still would say he's been the best. He's had the best year besides Goto of a pure New Japan heavyweight though.
Yeah.
But that point really says more about the New Japan side than him specifically.
Yes.
Yeah, very glad Anzai got a vote. Very glad Ishii got a vote as well. I think he always gets underrated. I mean, that match with Taichi he had a second ago, probably going to get forgotten because it was at the end of the gauntlet or whatever. But damn, this guy's a great. Like, I just think of how much better this tournament would be if he was in it, to be honest. But I really have.
He will spend the summer conglomerating, so good for him.
Yeah, I really have no problem with Sari as the winner, even though I think Goto's probably had a little bit better. But I definitely think, like, heading into the year-end awards, she has to be the favorite. And that would be our first repeat since we've named the awards if she does win, because she won Tanahashi Trophy last year as well.
That's right. That's true, yes. Will be interesting to see. I think she has a good shot being in Stardom now. All right, then we go to the best moment, and the best moment was a runaway winner for Goto winning the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and I don't think that came to a surprise for anybody. It was just one of those moments that I think a lot of people will look back at in years and years to come because of this lovable loser that nobody considered that would at any point in time be the champion. Did pull it off, and even though that he's injured now and the reign came to an unfortunate end at the end of June, this moment will forever live with Hiroki Goto.
Yeah, there weren't as many moments nominated in general this year because so many people voted for Goto's win. I mean, we did have some, especially by the end, but there wasn't like this huge convergence of them as there are in a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it's
Tam Nakano's retirement was voted for.
That to me is like a bittersweet moment, if anything. Like, it was an emotional moment for sure, and like well done in an artistic way with the Hoshiki reference with the star.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like the Goto moment was like a triumph of humanity. I feel like
that's right.
And so to me, that touched me a lot more than some of these other ones. And a lot of these were like retirements and stuff, which I feel the same way about. That's like bittersweet to me.
I mean, I also have the Meiko Satomura retirement as a great moment because it was very emotional for me as someone who really adored Meiko Satomura throughout the late 2010s. and I really loved the show and everything that came with it. So I really loved the Mako retirement moment.
I just wish he was still wrestling. Is the problem? Like, yeah, that was good and all, but it's still a bad thing at the end for my fandom.
I know. I want to give you two others, Dylan.
Yeah.
Another one that is very real. That it on a lower tier level compares to what the Goto moment was for a lot of people in Dragon Gate, was UT winning the Brave Gate eventually. Even though that he has lost it now again. That I think for the DG fan base, that was an incredible moment.
Well, I consider myself a DG fan, to be honest with you.
Me too, yes.
The difference between that and Goto is Goto was always a top tier player that they never got over the hump because they're stupid. UT was a jobber. Literally at the bottom of the card for most of his career.
He even was a jobber while he was the Brave Gate champion now.
Well, no, I mean he got a win over Mochizuki Jr., who's a real jobber. Indeed. He was a guy that did nothing. Like for most of his career. Last year, when they had the Triangle Gate run, that was similarly considered a huge moment for UT just to get the Triangle Gate.
All right.
But through good booking, they were able to make it to where he gets this big win, and it feels like another great moment. And DG's the best at that. Taking a guy that is at the bottom of the barrel, whether it's Punch Tamanaga, Yasushi Kanda, or UT, and making them into something on a whim. And it's almost always great. And he actually deserved it because he's a really talented wrestler. So Goto was a guy that was pushed relatively, but never pushed as much as he should have been, versus a guy who was at the top bottom of the barrel and now finally found his way to have success. And I thought it was a very great moment for him to win. On top of it, I think that they got everything they could with him winning over Junior and putting over the next generation of talent. I thought it was a really great run that he had, even though it was short. So very great moment for him to win. But another difference too is UT winning, basically I think people anticipated it. Whereas the Goto moment, people were arguing against basically until it happened. Saying, no, they will not do this because they haven't done it before and they've had a million chances to do it. And then when it finally happened, it felt unbelievable. Whereas the UT one, they built the whole tournament around him winning in his own town, pretty much. So I thought the Goto moment was more impactful because it was more unexpected.
What do you think about the Osawa win? Osawa wins the GHC to massive cheers while breakdancing. I mean, I was in attendance for that. I was just stunned.
Oh, to me, it was obvious. You could not continue with Kaito as champion. That's how I felt about it. I think he was just too bad of a draw to continue with. And I mean, we saw the results of putting Ozawa instead of him in the title scene.
One more moment that got votes was Mayu Iwatani's debut in Marigold. I mean, that was good
cool.
At all. Yeah, good and all, but nothing that I would consider a best moment in any way. I want to give you one more that I think, it also got a vote, but it is something that I think for most people flew under the radar from the June Kurikan Michinoku Pro show. Fujita Junior Hayato wrestling a 3-minute exhibition match. That is as real of a moment as you can get with a guy that is again battling cancer and that has pro wrestling as his relief from reality, as his break from reality. Pro wrestling is so vital and important for him that when he first had cancer, he had removed the bad parts of the cancer, just to the point that he would still be able to move and wrestle. That's how important wrestling is to him. And he came here to this Kurikan Hall show. It was a produced show for him. He booked the card. Hiromu Takahashi was on there, and after the main event, he came out in his gear, Fujita that is, and said, "I want to have an exhibition with you." And that was just a heartwarming moment.
Absolutely. That's was an amazing moment. The fact that he did it, like he continues to fight his way back against all of these odds, it really makes me think that, like, I don't think, and again, I'm like, we're talking about somebody, we don't know this for sure, but I think it is hard, and I'm saying this as someone who would say this about myself, actually. Wrestling to him, I don't think is his break from reality. It's his reason to have a reality, like
Okay,
with everything going on.
That's well put. Yeah.
Like that, because that's exactly how I feel a lot of the time as well. Like I don't think there would be any purpose to my existence without pro wrestling, and I felt that way since I was 13 years old. So obviously I'm not going through what he's going through health wise, but it makes me think the fact that he will always continue to push forward and try to get back and fight his way back. I would highly recommend listening to our episode earlier in the year where we did the Hall of Fame inductions. I talked a lot about him specifically and his journey, and I gave a lot of info and with some research I did coming up through Doglegs with his father that really implanted that in him from a very, very young age. So that shows you how, for whatever you want to say, maybe the year hasn't been that great in terms of top end stuff or whatever. Wrestling is such an amazing and beautiful thing that it really helps people, like not just as fans, but just as human beings. And I think that is a great, great case and a shining example of that. Like you said, another very real moment, like the Goto win, with all that was put into it about his father that he brought up and his stuff like that.
Constantly bringing his children to his matches, and his children just adoring their dad.
Yeah, and that's an amazing thing to see. That's something that really was very special to me. And again, that's something I can't relate to nearly as much. Unlike needing wrestling to live, I wouldn't know anything about a father figure like that. So to see that is so heartwarming and inspiring. And I think that's the same way for a ton of people. When he won, a lot of the reviews I read, whether it was from your Joseph Montesinos, your Handwork Wrestlings, like whoever, really mentioned the father stuff and their experience with their fathers. And I think that's an amazing thing that we could feel these real life emotions, whether it's from for your junior coming in for his show and having that match despite his cancer battles, or Goto winning it for his dead father and making his father proud. And I think that's something we all like have in our hearts somewhere. That's a very human emotion. So to see that, this is why I always say that moment is the one that I always look to first, pretty much. When I finish calculating the awards, when I have the tally in front of me, that's the one I always want to look forward to the most, because I think that has all of the truly greatest stuff, more than a match or a show or a wrestler. The moments is what really makes wrestling as great as it is, and why we love it so much, even during the downtimes.
That's right. And I think one moment that will always be pulled out whenever something in New Japan happens that can be emotional is Tanahashi crying after Gabe Kidd versus Kenny Omega in the Tokyo Dome. That was real. He was just sitting there in a suit crying.
I wonder if that'll have the same impact upon a lot of the fans now as it did then.
We'll see. One more incredible moment that included Tanahashi was him standing in the ring at the Death Pain Invitational, being commissioner for the junior heavyweight title amidst light tubes, and after the match, Desperado hugged him in his white shirt.
That did, in fact, happen. That was a moment.
Yes, there are several others, like Shuri winning the IWGP Women's, Nanai Takahashi retirement, Mantai Kid's retirement, lots of retirements, actually. Jun Kasai invites Despi, Takeshita hits a Somato and Tanahashi. Nice. Daiki Odashima survives against Katsuki Fujita. Yes, that was a moment.
Yeah.
All right, Dylan, time for the top two here. It is the Yoshi MVP. Much like in other categories, we have a runaway winner with Saya Kamitani, far and above the most votes for this category. Sari is number 2, and Mayu Iwatani is number 3. And I can make it really short and sweet here for this award because I have the very same running order for the Yoshi MVP, for the Manami Toyota Yoshi MVP, Dylan.
It's Kamatani. Like, that's it.
Yep.
Like, there's no other. Every other answer is correct, in my opinion. Like, she meant the most, like, clearly to her company.
Clearly.
And was also had a very good year wrestling.
I was
Like,
just
she
going to bring
improved
it.
greatly.
You just said it for your point on the best wrestler. She brought all the metrics to the table when it comes to an MVP.
Yeah, there's no flaws in her game. The other ones, I think Sari is the appropriate second choice. I think Nanai had a year, like half year worth celebrating, but obviously that won't last to the year-end awards. So Mayu's as good of a third choice as any. A lot of retirements, like you said, this year. Again, bringing up to that weird year we talked about with the injuries and retirements. It's pretty rough, and this award's going to feel it with Tom and Mako and Nanai all retired.
Going to be interesting at the end of the year when we have more of Mayu Iwatani in Marigold. What she ends up meaning to the company at the end of the year.
And she's going to be put in position.
Right.
You look at who didn't have a vote, and it was Utami Hayashishida.
Yeah.
I mean, Mayu is going to take over that spot.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
And it's interesting. Like, that'll give her a shot. Again, they haven't booked Kamatani great the last couple of months. Like, she's been a great business draw and a great wrestler when given the opportunity, but she hasn't really had that in a couple of months. So her run has been down. We're going to see how this momentum carries over to the end of the year and what they're able to pull out. Because I think it is worth questioning at this point, just because it's been so long since he's had a defense.
Yeah. She's going to be in the tournament, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like a 32-person tournament. I don't know if you see the blocks.
Jesus.
Like, literally everybody is in that tournament.
Everybody's in the tournament. Yes, that sucks, man.
It's an interesting block, but it's just like, you could easily cut it in half. Like, I'm a fan of multi-blocks, like more than 2 blocks. I'm not a fan of, like, a bunch of people that shouldn't be in it being in it.
Yeah, if you have a 4-block tournament, there's no use of putting 8 people in one block.
No, it would be 4 people in each block.
5.
I think it would be 5 could work too. Like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, that would totally work, and you could easily cut out a lot of the fat. Yeah, because half of these people aren't going anywhere.
Yes. Let me see who others voted for. We have Tam Nakano got votes. Meiko Satomura, Shuri, Shiro Hashimoto, Yuna Mizumori. She's not an MVP.
No. I don't know why she got 2 votes.
I don't know, man. I
don't
Actress.
Know who's MoMA? I put a question mark next to that. Who's MoMA?
No idea. Tomaka Inaba. Oh, man, yes. At JTO, maybe.
Yeah, smaller level.
Nanae Takahashi, Unagi Sayaka, Suzume. None of these are really MVP candidates. And maybe Nanae, you can make the case, like you said, for the first half.
Hatsu at a very small level, but not business-wise. Like, it all falls apart there. Unagi's big show lost a ton of money. She made a whole video about it. Like that Sumo Hall show she tried to run. Like, so.
Who would have thought?
Well, it's Unagi, so that's what you get.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there is really nothing that we can add to the Yoshi MVP. Saya Kamitani was going to be the winner. Like you said, we'll be looking back at that at the end of the year. With Sari being in Stardom now, I think she has a fair shot of making up ground to Kamitani.
And I think that's it. Like, if the stars align, perhaps Mayu can turn. If there's a big uptick in Marigold business the second half of the year, maybe she'll be able to jump ahead. But to me, it's going to be tough for Tall Saya to lose at this point, barring an injury or something like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, the way they booked her, it gives you room to question whether Sari or Iwatani can jump ahead.
Right. Okay. Finally, for our last award, last but not least, of course, it's the most important award. It's the overall award, the Kenta Kobashi MVP award, and I want to stress that once again, this is an overall award. This is not a men's MVP award. This is who we think is the most valuable player in all of Japanese pro wrestling. And the listeners came away with Yamato on number 3, Osawa on number 2, and Hiroki Goto on the top position. Hiroki Goto is, for the listeners, the Kenta Kobashi MVP of the Half Year Awards 2025. Dylan, where do you stand?
I was really surprised at these votes, to be honest with you. Not necessarily surprised that Goto won, but that he won in such dominant fashion.
Me too. I was thinking that the race might be closer.
Yeah, me too.
Between multiple candidates here.
I also I would not put Yamato on the level of Kamitani or Goto.
I would agree.
Like wrestling wise, yes, but the business just isn't there for his run that we've seen clear upticks, whether it's Kamitani, Ozawa, Goto. Clearly their runs all made differences.
Yeah.
But Yamato did not.
Therefore, going to Yamato.
Yeah.
Dragon Gate clearly stacked the deck for these double shot shows in Korakuen Hall at the beginning of June, which I mentioned, the Great Mochizuki match. But even though they stacked the deck so much with talent and with title matches on these Korakuen Hall shows, the business metrics didn't go much more up than their usual Dragon Gate Korakuen attendances did before June. So I agree with that. I couldn't put Yamato up there.
The thing with Ozawa has a great case.
Yes.
If you like his wrestling. And that's the problem. Yes, he has the business gold star, but overall, his matches are not something I enjoy at all. Whereas Kamitani and Goto both have incredible matches to their names.
Yeah, I agree with that. Think about, though, where would Pro Wrestling Noah be right now if they hadn't struck gold on this dude?
And that's another big point in his favor, because we know where they would be. They were not in a good place before he came around, and we can only presume it would be worse now. At least with him, they do have hope, and they've struck on something that really works. But for me, I still think you need to have great matches, for the most part, for this.
I know. I know where you're coming from. It's still though, we still have to include the business part of that, and that is just.
I totally include it.
I know, but that's just not there. It's not to the degree there for a Yamato, for example.
Yeah, I said that.
Yes, exactly. I don't know. That's why I specifically laid it out. This is an overall MVP. Saya Kamitani clearly clears Osawa and Yamato for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was my point, because again, Ozawa has the business gold star and is important to his company.
Yep.
But Kamitani also does that and is also a great wrestler. So
we should point that out more. That is an overall MVP award, I think.
Yeah, I mean we do put it on the voting thing.
It says male or female. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But for some reason, I do agree with you, though. I think if people were more aware of that, I think Kamitani got a really raw deal in this voting award. I just don't see a good case for Yamato or Ozawa over her.
No.
Overall, just... And I think Goto... I think the best thing you could say for Goto, more than any wrestling ability or a nice house he drew, because... things worked when he picked it up. There was a clear uptick when he won.
Yes.
Up until Dontaku, after Naito left, things did go on a downturn, to be fair. And he went out in style with the Tanahashi Jam, even though, he was the semi-main in that. But things did go on a little bit of a downturn for June after Naito left. And I think that was a bigger problem than him. I don't think anybody else would have not suffered some. But you go back to where they were again. Go back coming up to those dome shows, how negative things were. Like, those shows bombed with Zack as the champion.
I was just going to bring it up. Imagine during the time now that Naito left the company, we would have a different champion. Like, not Goto, but a different guy on top. I think business would have been down more.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I think even if you try to hold it against him, I think that was out of his hands, and anyone else's champion probably would have suffered, if not suffered worse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's really why I would pick Goto over Kamitani, because I kind of went back and forth on it. Ultimately, Stardom, when Kamitani took over at the end of 2024, was not in as negative of a place as New Japan was when Goto won the title. Because it was utterly hopeless. Like, if Zack had won that match, we would have had nothing in New Japan this year.
There really was nobody that we pointed at that we could imagine being the guy. Because nobody imagined that Goto would get that run.
Yeah. And I just think, like I said, the company wasn't in a great place at all, but they weren't at their absolute lowest. Their lowest was the year where she got injured as a babyface and Tom was the champion. After she beat Julia, the rest of that year was basically a train wreck. And people were leaving. Mari Gold was about to start. Rossi was recruiting. This past year, when it came down to Tom and Kamitani at the end of the year, was not their low point. To me, New Japan was basically at their low point. After that AEW show, and the Kidani was talking about how bad the draw was. And there just was no hope for the company at all. And I think Goto, you could argue Kamitani maybe made a slightly bigger difference overall. But I thought that New Japan was much lower from a starting point from January 1st.
I agree.
To then. That's why I picked Goto.
Yeah, me too. Goto, Saya, Osawa is my ranking.
I don't think there's any other candidates besides those three. Like, those were the clear top three. Everyone else was very distantly behind, including Yamato, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep.
But at least Yamato had a career year as the top champion. It didn't translate to business, but he did have a great run, critically acclaimed, even though we do have to acknowledge the business deficiencies of it. But still, other than that, like, who had a better top run than those four this year?
Yeah. I mean,
that you can even make an argument for.
Jun Saito, certainly not.
No. They drew a nice number in his hometown versus his brother, but that does not an MVP make, in my opinion.
Other vote getters. El Desperado is a vote getter. I mean, he does draw on a level that's Kurikan.
And even then, not as good as Kamitani.
Right.
And by the way, Kamitani's run against Sakura, a literal rookie, did more than the Death Pain Invitational in Kurikan. So, how can you argue that?
Other MVP vote getters, Eiko Satomura, Mei Suruga, Shiro Hashimoto, Chris Brooks, Shun Skywalker, Jun Kasai, Mai Iwatani Sari, yeah, we can talk about that. Like we said, with the Yoshi MVP. Someone else. Who votes for Yuna Mizumori in these awards?
What happened to Himawari, guy? He has been replaced by Mizumori.
Tanaka and Tanahashi also got votes. None of these, I think. We'll see with Shun Skywalker now as Dreamgate champion.
He's always to me, he's always in play. because I think he's so vital to the promotion. Like, without him, the company's totally different. But again, I think Ozawa has a better case for that because I think the company's totally different in a negative way without Ozawa.
Yeah.
Shun doesn't have like a lot of great matches in the first half of the year. Really, his highlight was the Rene Perea final, which was really more about like Homare. But his character work is just so like next level that I think he always needs to be considered, at least. And sorry, in her own way, her quantity is so strong that she always has to be considered, even if she doesn't have a direct like really promotion that she's carrying. Maybe in Stardom she'll have that the second half of the year, and if that happens, like let's say Sari gets a big main event run, and that does business, I think she'll have to be considered.
Yes.
And if Ozawa keeps this up for the whole year, it's going to be, we cannot deny him forever. Like, even if I don't like his wrestling that much. And Goto looks like he might be taking a step back as well. So there's a very good chance I think Goto will not win. Yeah, exactly. I think there's a very good chance any of these people could win in the end of the line.
Do you think there's like Goto will drop off because of his injury and because he's not in G1? Who do you think could make the top 3? I mean, Sari, obviously, yes. Saya Kamitani, Sari, and Osawa would be the ones, right? Is anyone else? Shun was on.
I would write off Shun.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we see a business uptick, he's going to be the one that gets credit for it.
The thing is,
Higuchi, same thing with Higuchi and DDT.
We can't rate him.
Why not?
Because DDT doesn't give us any attendances anymore.
That's true. Well, if they start giving attendances again, then we can decide. Okay, maybe he's.
Oh yes.
Yes. Then we will decide. Okay, they didn't do it for a while. Now they are again. He's clearly a main reason why. But maybe like Iwatani for Marigold, if she does get a main event run.
Yes.
So yeah, you've got some options, but it's really wide open again with Goto. Let me ask you a question. This really has nothing to do with the awards, but it's something that I think is worth asking.
Before you do, I want to give one conclusive look on Hiroki Goto. Yeah. I'm just happy that we were able to talk about him like we did in the first half of 2025.
And that could have been every year if he had the opportunities.
That's right.
But I'm very happy as well that he did get these moments. Yeah. And led a very inspirational title reign that I think will be very fondly remembered. I think, not to steal Voice Gate's gimmick here, but if we were doing a tier list of IWGP title reigns with this current belt, he basically had an S tier run. Like, he has to have had the best run with this title of any champion to me. Unless you want to argue for Sonata as the best one.
I don't.
Or Kota Ibushi.
No, I brought that up when we talked about the best wrestler, that he probably had the best run with this belt.
Yeah. Do you think that his injury was legit?
I don't.
I don't either. Yeah. Like, I said it on the Patreon. This is at best, if this is legit, it's a very convenient injury.
It's not an injury that should take him out of wrestling for a couple of months. No.
Not just that. Like, he loses the title without having to actually lose it. Then he gets taken out of the G1 where he doesn't have to lose again. On top of it, do we know if the winner of the G1 gets a dome shot, or will it be in October again?
We don't know that.
So to me, that means it's likely to be October again. Let's say they have somebody win the G1 and Zack defends against them. You have a ready-made dome main event with Goto coming out without wasting any losses on him. On top of it,
that is the best possible version of a dome main event, because I don't think it's going to be Tanahashi being there.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible.
It's always possible.
If they just want to say fuck it, We just need Tanahashi in the main event. Have him win the G1. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
None of these other guys
you
are
laid out
ready.
the scenario. You laid out the scenario a couple of shows ago, and it's a
Yeah.
possibility. But I
Well,
like
that was before Goto won. That was before Goto lost the title. To be fair.
Yes, I like the
Yeah.
idea with Goto.
Yeah, but it's not an idea. It just feels like something that may happen because this injury is very convenient for him to go shoot a movie at the same time as well. Which is, I mean, God bless him. I love that he's getting a starring role alongside Roman Reigns of all people. But it just seemed a very convenient injury. Is all I'm saying. So that could lead to something there. And maybe he'll be able to bounce back by the end if he does come back strong and has a great run. But I think the odds are strong that we don't really see him much for the rest of the year, and I think somebody else will take the crown from recency bias, or maybe if somebody just has a stronger year. Who knows? Maybe Zach could bounce back. Like
maybe.
I
maybe
wasn't.
He'll have a stronger year.
Yeah, I mean they're giving him another chance. I didn't think his run was very good at all first go round, but they're putting a lot on him, and we'll see if he can deliver.
It actually is a good time to put the title back on him, because he clearly excels in these tournament situations.
And we'll see. I mean, he could have done that without the belt. To be fair,
I say yes. I know, but who else would it be? No.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, at least now they have a ready-made story. Yeah. Zach won one, Goto won one, and they had the draw in America. And the dome match could be maybe like a 2 out of 3 falls match. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, like a final match between the two to figure out who the best man is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense from a storyline-wise type of deal.
Sure does.
And I think that Goto had a great run. It has to be considered like an all-time great match. Or no, all-time great title reign for this title.
Definitely. Yeah. That's it, right? We have it all. Overall, Dylan, I've said it at the beginning of the show that my feeling was that there wasn't as many highlights to point out to in this half year. You might be right that there was more than last year at certain points in time. What's your overall feeling now that we're through the show?
I think there's a lot of positivity around Goto's reign as well. And I think that may have led to some positive feelings. Like your opinion was also solid as well. And I think overall, there's no doubt that right now Japan is in kind of a down state at the moment. You have to hope that somebody continues. I mean, at the very least, this first half of the year has shown, whether it's Goto, Ozawa, Kamatani, they've shown flashes at pretty much every level. And I think that's something worth praising overall. And I think that's worth noting because I think we did not have that last year. Because if you look at where we were at last year, you know, we were in the middle of that terrible Moxley and Naito stuff with the IWGP run. Everything New Japan was doing last year was trying to get the US dollar at this moment in time. Noah was just spiraling and not doing anything of note. All Japan's the one I would say is a worse place now than they were a year ago because they're in the Anzai race. And Marigold had just started. They were still finding their footing, so it's hard to judge them, really. Stardom was really chaotic because Marigold was just starting. And they were just trying to find their own footing as well. And I think this year they're in a better place, for sure. So I'd say mostly better. Dragon Gate was really chaotic last year as well. Like, they had finished the Monte reign and passed to Benkei for the transition to Yamato. And Yamato, he was having a great reign this year. So I would say mostly better, but All Japan's worse would be where I'm at than last year.
I would overall, I would agree with what you said, your sentiment about who was better and who was worse. I agree with that ultimately. I want to quickly go back to the MVP again, Dylan. I want to point out one X factor that we could have in the second half of the year. And that X factor is Tetsuya Naito. What will Naito be doing in the second half of the year? Because I mean, Wrestle Odyssey was announced by Pro Wrestling Noah, taking place on October 11 in Sumo Hall. And if they get Naito for that show, that could be a massive hit for them.
I totally agree with that. I don't know what his game plan is, really.
No, and that's the interesting part. That's why he's the X factor for any MVP conversation.
I do have a hard time. I will say this. I really feel like no matter what happens between now and the end of the year, I just think it's really hard for me to imagine a Tanahashi retirement show without Naito on it in some way.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to be the ultimate final goal of his, is to be in the Dome show.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just is like done and he just wants to. I mean, there was those rumors about him starting his own like side company or something. I just think now is a really not great time for that, to be honest, to start a wrestling company in Japan. And if he's smart, he's probably looking at that offer and being like, man, I don't care how many sponsors we get. I just need to go play it a little bit safer.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Don't they have that run in Europe planned? Like him and Bushi? Did they say
they
were going
are
there?
booked for a Rev Pro shot, yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's opening the door for him to do something in not just New Japan, but just Japan in general.
Maybe.
Will anyone be able to afford him if he's not starting his own company?
I mean, when I look at the list of sponsors that this Wrestle Odyssey show has, it's organized by Cyberfight. Special sponsor is Line.
Okay.
Abima, Win Ticket. We'll go on and on with the sponsors that they have. There's like a dozen of sponsors for this show.
Wow. Well, I mean, there you go. That gives you something right there.
Yep.
Well, it'll be interesting.
We'll see. Dylan, I'm very happy that we got to do the show. It worked out really well in the time frame that we had. And I think we got to talk about a lot of different aspects and a lot of different competitors from the Japanese landscape here on this Half Year Awards 2025 show.
Absolutely. And you and I agreed on quite a few awards here, to be honest with you. We only had a few differences.
Yep.
Sari and Goto for Tanahashi. Kanan and Kenta for Improved, and Flamita and Oleg for Foreigner, like the Hanson Award. So other than that, we were basically in sync, like up and down these awards here. We all had agreed on those three. So we were closer to each other than the audience at large, I would say.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting there that we were so similar. I don't know if that's ever happened before, to be honest.
I don't think it has. No.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see if this carries over, because, like you said, ultimately the year-end award is so wide open; they could all be different by the end of December.
Yes, will be interesting to see. So it's going to be an interesting summer with the G1 coming up. Will All Japan be able to bounce back? What is going to happen in Dragon Gate with the Zebra split? And I'm so happy, Dylan. It finally happened.
With the problem is only 2 people are out.
Yes,
yes, but like they're still huge at the end of this.
Yes. There's a Kurkan in early August, and we'll know more then, I guess.
Maybe they can kick some more people out for your sake.
They will.
Okay.
All right, man. Yeah, it's been fun. We'll say thank you to all the listeners who supported us here along the way in this first half of 2025. I want to say thank you to those who voted, who sent us their ballots. That is always key and vital to this show. This couldn't have happened without you.
1,000,000% true. The fans really knocked it out of the park again. Again, I thought we had some healthy discussions on this show. Some disagreements, but for the most part, a lot of us were very much in tune. And there was very few things I disagreed with. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to vote, filling out your ballots, sending them to us on Twitter, whether it's in the Google form, wherever you've sent it. It really meant a lot to us that you took the time and the effort. We really do think it's the best awards going, especially for Japanese pro wrestling. And I loved all the differences where we had so many different promotions of wrestlers represented. Again, 19 different promotions in Japan had at least one wrestler with one vote or one match. So thank you guys so much for being so smart, taking the time to think about it and not just putting random shit down, pretty much. It really means the world, and the support in general means the world to me. And you guys are keeping the show going. You are the lifeblood of the show, and to me personally as well. Just like I said, all the support that I've gotten in this half year has been amazing. And I will always be grateful with my whole heart and soul. So thank you guys. I really want to tell you all personally that I appreciate you so much. And I always say that I love you, and the Eastern Lariat loves you too. And I cannot wait to be back for the next episode talking G1, whatever's going on. And I can't wait to see the reactions to the show, what you guys thought of the winners, your votes, and all of the rest. Please let us know. We love talking about wrestling with you. So please let us know what you guys thought as well.
Exactly. So thank you all for listening, and goodbye.
Sayonara.